Everybody just getting our YouTube streaming working. Hang on. There we go.
Let's see.
Okay, recording enabled. Let's see. I need to find all the Chia team and get them on the panelists. $160 participants already.
Hey guys.
Hey, hey. So if everybody's watching, we're going to have all of the Chia team be panelists so you can meet who you've been talking to or interacting with on GitHub. Lots of familiar names here in the webinar. Feels like being a real farmer, huh? Those of us on the West Coast.
We're up early.
Up early indeed. So anybody on the team, please raise your hand so I can easily find you and promote you to panelist. Let's see. Lots of chat. We'll also be kind of keeping an eye on, I think, testnet in general and Keybase. Let's see. T-minus 27 minutes. Okay, let's see. Go this direction. Morning, everybody. I'm going to bring the i9 Time Lord over. Why are there always security updates when you want to do something like this? Mariano, you're comfortable with 100 terabytes or petabytes, pardon me?
Yeah, please no more. Please don't give me 1 exabyte, people. I don't want any surprises like that. I hope it's 100.
I think we'll be below 100, but we will see.
We'll see.
And Bram, I like that. People will understand what I'm talking about later.
Yeah.
We do have a YouTube live stream. It's on our channel under my name, I believe. If anybody can grab that URL, it'd be great so we can make sure that people have it too. We are heading toward half of our attendee count, 180. Coffee key. We'll try to take some questions, but obviously the focus is going to be on DevOps and the team making sure this actually goes off. After it works, we'll hang out for a little while and chat. So if things don't work, this may get cut a little short so that we can concentrate. Apologies, but we hope that is not the case. Just want to make sure everybody's aware. It's Friday, March 19th, 6:35 a.m. Pacific time for anybody watching this later.
We're hoping this is really boring.
We expect it to be really boring. Those other green flags, especially the last one, worked great. So
yeah.
Thank you, Andrew. Finally got YouTube live streaming working. It's good when the night before you release, the thing you're worried about is YouTube live streaming. I'm just saying. I'm going to reboot the i9 so it's fresh and clean from a updates perspective. My office is quiet all of a sudden.
Stop doing blocks.
Yep. If you're on RC9, it just got slower.
Hey, Gene, with regards to the blue boxes, we were talking about maybe waiting a little bit before starting them, just to reduce load and to make sure everyone converges on a peak in the beginning.
Sure. I've got one in AWS and one in our rack that I was going to start. So.
Hey, someone correctly identified the. Oh no, not quite correctly identified the instrument. This is in D major. It's not a hang drum. It's.
I do think someone who pointed out this is a great time for Rickroll is right.
Yeah, I don't know how to play that on this.
You can learn live with 193 of your closest friends. Git fetch.
Oh, I can play a tune.
Oh my god.
Oops.
Oh, here's the instrument for people to see.
If anybody ever worries that like you're the only person who forgets to activate, I just did.
We'll see if I can get it.
timelord.sh.
We'll see if I get this copyright striked for playing music.
Oh yeah, careful. Oh yeah, like, subscribe, you know, what all the cool kids are asking for. Okay. And yes, everybody watching, this is often what a Chia call looks and sounds like. It's just usually a couple hours later.
Yeah, I'm finally seeing some of our teammates in daylight because
Yeah, it's true. The European team is not at night.
That's a big deal for you Californians, right? At 6
Yeah.
a.m. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, we're not really morning people around here.
Nope.
Especially post daylight savings time.
Though the rumor is that I never sleep, so why should I care, right?
Yeah, our daily stand-ups are 4 hours later.
If Bram looks tired, it's because he is.
I think Straya's in the audience somewhere.
Okay, let me get the time word running, and then I'll grab him. We can do. Oh, there's one. Yeah, I had not done a good grab of the people who are waiting. Sorry.
Oh, people are wondering about things. Okay, so there's this puzzle here. Is a Geary Cube, I guess they call it commercially. Anyway, I invented this, or me and my friend Oscar invented this. It's in mass production, and this is the very large version. It's a little cartoonish.
Okay, I think I've got everybody in the. Yeah.
Hey.
Hey, Florin, hadn't seen your face in a while. It's early enough, I guess.
And there's also this. It's another thing I invented, which is, it's a little hard to describe what it's doing, but it jumbles. You can go like that, and like, you know,
Time Lord says network is not ready yet.
like that. There you go, jumbles.
Bram, I also have one of your toys here.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Can you solve it? I mean, it's solved right now, but do you know how to?
Hmm.
Yeah.
I haven't actually tried. I thought about what kind of mathematical model you could make about the state of this thing.
Yeah, well,
But
it's
yeah, that's a separate
more,
discussion.
yeah, it's more about figuring out the moves, because actually there are some not very obvious moves which allow you to get to more states than you can get to without them. So you've got it starting in the solve state there, But if it gets like pretty scrambled up, you might get into a state where it like takes you some time to figure out what the actual move is to break the invariant, which has you trapped. Also,
Okay, well, I
there's
haven't researched really that much.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll try.
also there's this thing here, which is probably hilarious on video because it looks like a distortion or something. But yeah, I left my Rubik's Cube on the radiator and it melted, and now it's all weird here too.
So folks in the community, used to be I could read every single post in the community, and now I can't.
Yeah.
Shanio, this is not an opportunity for you to be bad. Just saying. Though Shanio's asleep right now, I think. Okay, Time Lord's connecting peers. I'm going to bring one of the AWS Time Lords over as well. 642.
Why is my computer on that?
Thank you again for easier login, Justin.
It's crazy how much time a good SSO setup saves you. You don't think
Oh.
about the lost seconds logging in.
I felt it. I'll just say it that way. Q&A.
There's a big thing going around in the like usability security community right now about second factor keys and how like security devices like physical ones are better because it's you don't like end up checking text messages on your phone after you accept the key.
That would be why we do that.
Yeah, well, I hope no one is using SMS second factor for everybody in the audience.
Everybody in the
know.
audience, that is
Yeah.
key. Please explain that while I work.
It's funny, my actual bank forces SMS second factor is the only option they offer. It's kind of
Thanks,
sad.
banks.
Yeah, all my finance things have substantially worse security than like logging into Discord does.
Yep.
No, there's not an official Discord. Yes, there's an unofficial Discord. Yes, sometimes we're there. I think Almog was the last of our team that's missing. If anybody else is, raise your hand or...
Oh, Zlatko is, I think, in the audience.
Okay, I see him now. Okay, I think I've got everybody now. Justin, I'm going to bring Time Lord East up instead. That way we've got, you know, any sort of net split.
It's going to be interesting to see who gets the first block.
Yes. If you get the first block and you're willing to chat with us, we want to take care of you.
We'll give you an NFT for it.
And maybe something cooler than that.
I think Matt has had a little over 20 hours to develop NFTs, so we should be done now.
It's ready, right? Checked in, right? There you go.
I think Richard.
I can't believe you guys baited a Docker image at launch day.
Oh, we also baited Linux installers, man. Come on.
Say what, Allie?
Oh, I said I think Richard is in the audience.
Ah, thank you. Though I assume this is the right Richard, so we'll see.
We should probably do
Yeah.
introductions in the next 5 minutes before things get heated.
see. Is that the right Richard? That is the right Richard. Yay. You're muted, but hi.
Nice picture.
So this
Oh
is a
God. Okay.
Is Steven on the call? I forgot to ask.
He's having a sleep right now, but I'm sure he'll climb up my leg at some point.
When Matt starts screaming, that's usually because Steven's saying hello.
We must apologize to Stephen for waking him up.
Waking him up.
Steven's a cat,
It's only
by the
like
way.
it's only the afternoon. I mean, his afternoon beauty sleep is not over, right?
It's not like Matt's actually like Matt's roommate or something.
Reboot East Coast Time Lord. T minus 14 minutes.
There are funny memes to invoke now, but I don't want to jinx it.
we can meme after like block 100. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Now is not the time for humor.
Never. Not in this crowd.
Should we start introducing people?
Yeah, go ahead. It's a good time.
You start, Bram.
Okay, so I'm Bram. Most of you probably know who I am. I'm a famed, let's see, I'm a puzzle inventor, and I invented
All around evil genius.
once upon a time. Yeah. So I complain around here is what I do. I do a lot of that. And then other people do real work. It's probably more important to introduce the other people who don't know who they are. So maybe we could follow our daily format, our stand-up format. So Bill, how about you?
Call it.
All right. Okay. Sounds great, Bram. Thanks. Mariano?
Hey everyone, I'm Mariano. I've been working at Chia for like 3 years, and I'm really happy to finally launch the chain. So it's very exciting. I've been answering questions on Keybase, so that's been really fun.
Awesome.
Mariano does a lot of Mariano is a cryptography engineer and did a lot of our network protocol stuff and most of the actual implementation of the consensus algorithm and a lot of everything else as well.
All right, cool. Arvid?
All right, I've been at Chia since October, mostly working on Chia POS, the plotter, and CLVM, and have some background in finance and also some crypto. Like I used to work at Blockstream and also at BitTorrent. I think that's my highlights.
Arvid created a libtorrent for those of you who know what that is.
And he's part of our Europe group, which is why we have development going on around the clock.
Yeah,
West Coast hands off to Japan. Japan hands off to Europe. Europe hands off to.
It makes sense to specify where people are. So Mariano's Japan. Arvid is Northern Europe.
Stockholm.
Yeah.
Slava, you want to go next?
Sure. Hello, everybody. So I'm Slava, and I've been working in Chia for 1.5 years, and I've been working on proof of time and proof of space. And initially, I participated in the proof of time contest, and that's why I ended up working here.
If you remember him,
I'm based in Europe, in Estonia.
He should have won the proof of space, proof of time contest.
he was Crypto Slava in the first contest. Yes.
Yeah, for want of a test case.
Mm-hmm.
Did not
And if you're wondering why things are very fast, it's usually because of Slava. So, all right, Justin.
Hi, I'm Justin. I've been on the team since like October. I do DevOps, CI/CD, platform orchestration stuff. It's nice to meet everybody. I've been helping out in the support channels as well. So it's It's been fun. Excited.
All right, awesome. Matt and Stephen.
Stephen is still mapping right now, maybe later. I'm Matt. I write Chia Lisp and lower level Chia Lisp and have done a few of the smart contracts. You may have also seen me in public dev answering questions about Chia Lisp, and I'm in England.
He's our Ethereum guy as well. Ethereum refugee. So we also have a lot of Chia pets who are not online. I guess they're all asleep. But they're welcome during the meetings, the stand-up meetings. Allie?
My name's Allie, and I'm the Vice President of Operations, and I've been at Chia for 3 years, 3 months, and 19 days. And I do the operations, and I help out on the finance team.
Cool. Adam?
Hey, I'm in Oakland, California, and I've also been here since October. Recently, I've been helping out on the Chia Lisp compiler, and whatever comes up. I have a background in networking, and yeah, I'm very happy to work with these guys.
So with the poor lighting, you can't really tell that Adam has a blonde afro.
Yeah, it's really dark here right now.
Yeah, the sun is not up yet. So farmer.
Florence?
T-minus 8 minutes.
Hey, I'm Florin. I'm working here for about 2.5 years, I think. I've been doing mostly proof of time stuff and network architecture. And I think I'm probably the youngest around here. I'm turning 25 in about 1 week.
Yeah, Florin's been doing a lot of the Time Lord work. He's in Romania. Straya?
Sometimes Straya has microphone problems.
We'll come back to Straya. Russ?
All those SM45s in his Miami warehouse. That's what the problem is.
Hi, everyone. I'm Russ. I'm out here in Japan with Mariano, and I'm more on the business side, so you probably haven't seen me on Keybase as much. But as we launch, and I'll be on there to answer more questions. I'm not as talented as Gene, so I don't code while business operations get into gear, but I'm learning.
Awesome, thanks. Laura?
Hey, I'm Laura. I've been with Chia for about 2 years, a little over 2 years now, and I'm in operations and do social media. Super excited.
Cool. Almog?
Hi guys, my name is Almog. I'm an engineer based in Israel. I joined Chia at October. I've been working on the implementation of the new consensus and mostly syncing stuff lately. Yeah.
Bill, can I pause 1 second? It is now T-minus 6 minutes. Let's choose a Bitcoin block hash. I suggest 675317, which was 6:16 a.m. in case there's a reorg.
Sure.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Go ahead, Bill.
All right, anything else, Almog?
Exciting time launching a new chain. Just want to say. And cheers, everybody.
T-minus 5 minutes.
Cheers. Awesome. Zlatko?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Zlatko and I'm working on the UI application for Chia. I joined half year ago. Currently, I'm located in Slovakia, and in these days, I am trying to finish my refactoring of the application from JavaScript to TypeScript. And if you see any errors, just let me know on the GitHub. Yeah.
Great. Richard?
I'm Richard. I have an open source project called PyCoin, which is a Python implementation of Bitcoin. And it actually has an implementation of the Bitcoin script in it. And I love Bitcoin, but Bitcoin script has some warts. So I was really excited to be able to sort of fall into the chance to help create CLVM and Chia Lisp for Chia. I've been here since nearly the beginning, over 3 years, 3.5 years probably. And I'm living in Nevada, although originally from Canada. Back to you, Bill. Thank you.
Yeah, making it all based off of Lisp was Richard's idea.
Yeah, Richard is the father of Chia Lisp, and he's also our Python expert.
One thing, if we can mention your Keybase handle, if it's not obvious, one of the members of the community mentioned that was a good idea.
Yeah, I'm Richard Kiss. That's my last name, Kiss.
Cool, thanks, Richard. Lipa?
Yeah, hi, my name is Lipa. I did math research stuff on class groups of binary quadratic forms. I wrote that class groups paper that we have. And I do mostly front-end stuff now. Yeah. And then what was that last one, the Keybase?
Yeah, your Keybase handle?
What am I on there? Probably Leap Along.
Leap Along, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, she did the recent statistical analysis of the new consensus chains. So.
Yeah, and the paper for the contest, which has been cited by a lot of academics as well. Yeah, a lot of people.
That was the first ever write-up of just binary quadratic forms using like high school math only.
How to.
Yeah.
Been read by a lot of people. Will?
Hi, I'm Will. I'm in Sacramento, California, and I'm an engineer here. I mostly work on wallet-related software.
All right, awesome. So I think that's everybody from Stand Up, I guess.
You forgot one.
Gene. I always forget you. I talk
Yeah.
all day. So, go ahead.
Everybody
Gene.
does. It's okay. No, just kidding. So let's see. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I helped invent internet ad blocking, sold that to PGP Inc. Worked with Hal Finney there and Bill, who was also on my original company's team and came out to California with us. And there ended export controls and cryptography by being the second person to export crypto. Hal actually was the first. Then sold that to McAfee, went and decided to either do a Chaumian Digital Cash Bank or what became emusic.com. My wife liked the idea of us not being haunted by governments. Thank you, Satoshi, for fixing that. Then eMusic was sold to Universal Music. Then I started a subscription infrastructure company for all of the consumer subscription services. Sold that about 4 years ago and was figuring out what I should be doing next. And it was like, no duh, cryptocurrency. And then I heard Bram, who we'd gotten to know each other. We'd always had mutual friends back in the cypherpunk days, but I heard he was thinking about how to potentially solve the one true flaw at Bitcoin around energy consumption. And I was either the first meeting the co-founders took or the second one. And the other guy is Naval, so I'm not too worried about that. I've been advised of the company since then. Went full-time 2 summers ago and took over as CEO and president last fall. 2 falls ago. Sorry. What year is it? 2019. Anyway, I'm Hoffman G on Keybase. T-1 minute. So let's pause here.
I'm just going to say one thing.
Go.
I got 30 seconds. So yeah, I'm Bill. One more time, 1996 on Keybase. Yeah, I worked with Gene. I worked with Hal back in the day at PGP, Hal Finney. And yeah, I mean, engineers, they just want to see their stuff get used. So this is super exciting for me. I think it's super exciting for all the engineers. So I want to thank all the community for being involved in it. Thanks, guys.
Okay, I'm taking the red flag down. Justin, are you ready? We are 5 seconds past, so we're T-minus -8. I'm going to go ahead and upload the green flag. Confirming it. Yep. Sorry, S3 being pain. Okay, uploading. Boom. Time Lord's picked up the challenge. It is.
I see it coming through on my end.
1445 is when it went.
Both of my nodes have picked it up.
I'm seeing it. Yep, I saw it on 3 machines.
Yeah, I can hear Time Lords pulling up. Weird. Didn't run my local client.
0 plots eligible for farming.
Congratulations, you are farming. Farmers, start your combines.
The Time Lord revs up. The farmers, not so much.
Yeah, the Time Lord just revved up. Okay, signage points coming out of I-9. Looking very good so far, ladies and gentlemen.
Two unfinished blocks.
I'm up.
So you want to hear something interesting?
Sure.
My computer died.
Great time.
Sorry, Straya.
I forgot my charger.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
Oh yeah, hey, I'm Straya, and I work on pretty much all the parts of the Chia except BDF. That's the only part that didn't really contribute at all. And I'm in Miami, although it's 10 a.m. here, it feels like 5 a.m. because I'm not usually up at this time. My sleep schedule is a little bit off.
Straya works on West Coast time from Miami.
It's like more Japan time from Miami.
There you go. Brian Collins, introduce yourself, please.
Well, hello there. I just had to go close the door behind me. Hi, I'm Brian. I'm BJC138 on Keybase. I represent Chia in Switzerland.
Thank you.
And my node is synced, just for the record, Gene.
Yeah.
Cool. Is that your
We got peaks.
We have a ton of blocks, guys.
It's
4
running
blocks.
fast, guys.
Uh-oh.
It's up to height 3. All right, what's our initial work difficulty targeting here?
100 petabytes.
So somebody asked why did the estimate got reduced by half, and it's going to take a while before the estimate gets accurate.
Just so much space coming online right now.
How big will it be by 10 a.m.?
Yeah, the space is not necessarily accurate.
Takes a
Give
little
it
while for
some
that
time.
estimate to work.
Yeah, we'll have to wait to the first reset to know for sure.
We're up to height 6 now.
I've got block 7.
Yeah.
Time Lord says 7.
Well, height 6 is the 7th block.
There's a issue for that on the GitHub.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine.
Apparently,
Height 0 is the first block.
Apparently, this was implemented by a bunch of programmers.
You did ask for people who pushed keys on keyboards.
We seem to be going faster than 20 seconds, than 18 seconds per block.
We are.
So it's more than 100.
More than 100, I would say, yes.
Ooh.
For everyone betting online.
Yeah, I was going to go 200 based on exactly 3 minutes of data.
Well, maybe it feels like it's 200 if the 100 estimate's right.
Yeah.
We saw the highest we saw on testnet was 62, but we figured a lot of people didn't have their storage online.
Yeah, that kind of implied 120, but we'll see.
Well, thankfully, it's not totally whizzing by, so we're
No.
not by like a factor of 5 or anything.
Also, for anybody watching, the reason we care is that if like you're running a Pi during this first epoch, it could be somewhat hard to keep up. Once the difficulty resets to something around the storage, it'll be fine.
Yeah, we wanted to make it fair for the Pi people.
The work difficulty interval is set to a day, so.
Yes, that was a excellent. Oh yeah, we could do that decision right towards the end there.
Yeah.
People reporting their Pis are doing fine.
I like happy pies.
Who got block 1 is the next big question.
I don't know. We should give a poll there.
The public key is B97. Oh wait, no, that's block 3.
Well, they probably don't want to identify themselves though, so maybe we should ask that.
Yeah.
They'll probably want to sell it as an NFT. So.
Yeah, that's true.
But seriously, if you are a block 1 winner, we stole your Coinbase rewards. So you please get in touch if you want, and we'll try to see if we can fix that up for you.
But we'll keep it private if you want to.
Yes, you don't have to be public, but if you do, it'd be fun because like you'd be neat to have a farmer talk about like being one. Totally up to you.
We're big on the privacy front here too. So.
Yep. Okay. Other than going a little fast, look good. Estimates are coming in as they're bad, so don't assume they're right, but they're 120 to 140. So
they're going to be pretty noisy, and also presumably people are ramping stuff up. So
yep. Though I think most people had it queued, so I think everybody played on block 1.
All right. Oh yeah.
We put a lot of work, folks, into making sure that was fair and easy and it just work. And so thank you, and thanks for bearing with us on. Was it 8 releases in 30 days? Something like that.
And 1 squeezed in the last 36 hours.
If you ever want to be sure your app will launch, I recommend doing it that way. Just launch it like 5 times in a week.
Yeah, I was very insistent that we rerun the whole entire launch process over and over again until it just...
So for those of you in the community, if anybody's having a hard time syncing, let's go ahead and get the Genesis block published the old-fashioned way so you can add it to your config YAML.
We'll be pushing out a release soon that hard codes the Genesis challenge.
Yep. Somebody hit me with it, and I'll put it in announcements.
Someone also posted it to the Zoom chat.
It's in the Zoom chat. There we go. Well, yeah, I want to make sure what I put in the Explorer. For everybody giving us congratulations, thank you for that, and we're all pretty damn excited to finally be live.
Someone just reported getting some XCH. This did go remarkably smoothly. I just had my computer just sitting here, and it synced when it was supposed to and started running.
Palpable relief.
Yeah, that's relieving. Everything's good. Everything seems good.
Height 22. Signage points are fast and furious.
If you're having issues,
my breath.
For the community, if you're having issues syncing, you might need to shut down your nodes and check that there's no like old processes running from previous versions, and maybe even restart your computer.
And check your DNS cache.
Reboot the computer, and then it'll be everything be clear.
But before rebooting, make sure you actually have a problem.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. It is now T+9 minutes and counting.
This person is reporting he's got 2 XCH and is running 121 terabytes off a Pi for 4 gigabyte.
I love that you won on a Pi. That makes me so happy.
You won on a Pi. That really makes me relieved. Yeah.
Yeah. We spent a lot of time and effort. I got everybody who develops to have a Pi in their house to make sure that we were getting it there.
Yeah. One of the persistent issues we've been having are zombies, like processes that are like just kind of stuck. So that's the cause of a lot of issues. So yeah, if you have issues, just try to reboot and clear them off.
Keybase on the homepage is gone.
Yeah, it can't keep up. It's dead. Keybase is doing surprisingly well regularly, though.
It's a little herky-jerky for me.
Yeah, I think it's better because I think a lot of the demand's over here on the Zoom instead.
Oh, I think they might have upgraded their back end as well.
Yeah, I think that we're their largest now, and I think they knew that this was coming.
Yeah, for RC9 green flag, we basically caused Keybase to like shutter quite a bit.
It was not happy.
My log is going crazy. There's a lot of stuff coming in.
Yeah.
Lots of blocks.
We are moving fast.
Up to 26.
27 coming from the Time Lord.
So Gene has direct access to the.
The fastest Time Lord is right there.
Yeah. If anyone wants to run a faster Time Lord, please have at.
This is going to be going to a data center, so I stopped literally hearing the blockchain.
If you can get a hold of them at the end of the month, those 11th gen Intels are going to be great for running a Time Lord.
Yeah,
Justin inherits my Time Lord problems.
We do have multiple Time Lords running, but anybody can run a Time Lord as well.
We got one in Northern Virginia. We'll bring a few more up as the settles
Have we
down.
gotten any of that fluid?
No, we need to. The fluorinated water.
Yeah.
Or oil. Yeah.
It's fluorinated something. I forget. It's not technically oil. Chemists have subtle semantic points about what.
Yeah. Concur. That's my statement at 7:00 in the morning. T plus 11 minutes.
I like that we're getting an offer to host that Time Lord in Iceland.
We'll have one in Switzerland. We'll have one all over the place.
I'll fly up there and set up a volcano-powered Time
for
Lord.
For those curious, the best Time Lord is going to be 3 machines running Rocket Lake and IFMA on a local network together. So you'd run one VDF client per machine. You'd want to run under Ubuntu or Debian, and then you run the node on one of the 3, and it manages all 3 of them. That'll be the absolute fastest Time Lord in reality. There is an academic project in China on RVDF that is in the kind of prototype scenario, and it may only be about less than double the speed of the Rocket Lake cluster I'm talking about. The one thing you'll have is you overclock that Rocket Lake, IFMA is going to be heat expensive, so you're going to have to get a little exotic on cooling. But one of the things we plan to do is take that CMOS 28 nanometer process and continue to push it further towards the state of the art over the next few years. Ultimately, we would like for you to be able to buy like a USB attached thing off of our website for like $250, and it's got 3 VDF client ASICs in it, and you can run the fastest Time Lord in the world on a Raspberry Pi. But that's not today. Today, you want Rocket Lake.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna probably put a pretty significant financial investment in getting the R&D for those ASICs done.
We expect to lose a lot of money on that quite intentionally.
Although it's not as outrageous as you might think.
Yeah, as we do it, if we continue to spend a couple million every year, we'll actually get it to the state of the art very fast.
Oh yeah, that's.
But that's the kind of budget you need to actually go do ASICs, right? Maybe 3 initially.
Let's post the challenge on Keybase. Some people are still not connected.
Where is it, Mariano?
The challenge?
Yeah.
It's in config.
Right, I can grab it out
constants,
of that.
mainnet constant.
Thank you. I'm in DevOps mode, not dev mode.
In the mainnet directory.
Yep. Genesis challenge mainnet CCD.
Let me double check what it is. Yeah, it is CCD5. Oh yeah, people are posting it.
Yep.
Let's see. It looks like
probably cache issues.
It looks like Chia Explorer is working-ish. Let's see here. Parts of it are working. Not all of it is working.
Thank you, Freddie. Okay, the Genesis challenge is now in announcements. Block 43.
$74 blocks and 36 unique addresses. So, or is it 1 Chia per reward event right now?
It is 2 Chia per reward event.
2 Chia per reward event. Oh wow. So interesting. Oh man, so it's nearly as many unique addresses as oh well, it should be all unique addresses because we're using because we're
No,
using
the pool could be the same, right?
People set their addresses to the same address, so the public keys might be different, but the target address is the same.
Wow. Okay. So like, yeah, it's nearly as many unique addresses as rewards that have been handed out.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So this is pretty
That's decentralized right there.
Yeah, that was one of the things we were looking for. It was hopefully to see full farmer contest from block 1. So
yeah, and we love small farmers. The more farmers, the better. So
yeah, one of the things, there's a lot of talk about, oh my God, there's gonna be so much space, and my farm's never gonna win anything. Today, if you run Bitcoin nodes, you're doing it for like good Samaritan reasons. Like I'm running a Bitcoin node right over here. The difference with Chia is like, make a couple plots and like, are you going to win every day? No. Would you win once a year? Probably. And, depending on where number goes, that might buy you a new computer. So, we're kind of excited about the fact that you can run a node and really validate the network, drive decentralization, and get rewarded, even as a small timer.
And if the computer's already up, you're running a node that's not really taking any extra energy or resources. So
it does not cost a lot for Brian to keep that pie running. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Though I have a feeling Brian has a little more than just a couple plots.
Yeah, just toying with this gene is, working well. What do you want? Congrats, everybody. Seriously.
Thank you. Oh, sorry.
That was what we were aiming for. So
yeah,
a lot of anxiety just left the room pretty much.
Yeah. The only error was I'm sorry for that extra 5 seconds of not uploading faster.
Well, we had another milestone last night that a scam artist targeted us on Facebook.
There have been investment scams running around China, from what I hear.
Oh. You mean you don't want to give back to the community by giving 1 Bitcoin to this address?
Elon said so.
So how's it? So we're up to height 50.
Height 50.
Feels a little.
By the way, for people asking why the estimate is moving around so much, it's because it's an average of how fast blocks are coming. But the blocks are totally random. So we might get a lot of blocks or a few blocks. That's why the estimate is changing. But once it gets to like 500 or 1,000, we're going to know more accurately.
Yeah, about 192 blocks should start making more sense. Go ahead.
Yeah, you have to throw a lot of darts at the dartboard before you know how big the target is. The bullseye.
Yeah, it's starting to center around 100. So
we might have predicted it decently.
And there's some funny things about like when you have an epoch rollover, you can't have any rollover blocks there. It's possible we accidentally made it so you can't have rollovers in sub epochs either.
Is that soft fork changeable?
No, it would be if we did that, it would be a hard fork to change it, but
okay.
It's not.
I don't think that's the case. I think you can have blocks in the sub.
Steven's here.
Finally.
We have Chia Pets, just saying.
If you come to our meeting, you'll see Steven quite a bit.
We are going to start having open meetings like this, but for developers beyond us, quite intentionally.
And you're welcome to bring your pet.
We've just been a little busy.
Oh, there's another one.
Oh, there he is. Oh. Adam, is Oliver sleeping?
Yeah, he's in my lap. It's a little cold here, so he's just trying to get warm.
Yep.
We even have a company Keybase channel for Chia Pets.
Many nodes are there, Gene? Can you tell?
What was that, Brian?
How many nodes are there active now?
We were seeing about 6,000 when Freddie like turned things down. We're gonna be above 10,000 real quick. I'm pretty sure.
Oh wow!
I think a lot of nodes were hiding, and we'll see them today. Hiding. They were offline after knowing that everything was working, and they were just plotting.
We're about to serve the 100th gigabyte at our edge in the last 24 hours.
Love it.
Yeah, so the quick and dirty thing of just scanning which blocks have timestamps in them seems to indicate they're coming in at about the right rate. There aren't too many that are deprived of having, well, empty transaction blocks in them.
Yeah, so our estimate was pretty good then.
Yeah.
We nervously labored over that estimate for about 2 days. So
there was like a debate for a while.
Had to convince Bill.
What of the amount?
That though Mariano was still getting rightly deserved sleep, the amount was right.
Oh yeah, when we put in the code, yeah. No. I'm fine with 100, but yeah, we had a little debate about the last PR.
Yep.
It's one of those things that's really important to get right.
You think?
Yeah, we wanted to make sure about that.
Someone in chat has asked about advice for working their way up to building Chia-Lisp smart contracts and learning programming. I'd say just write Chia-Lisp is the best way of learning it. Chia-Lisp.com, is it? Has some tutorials that are now up to date. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the public dev channel. But writing Chia-Lisp is the best way of learning Chia-Lisp.
Matt has more experience than anyone actually writing Chia-Lisp at this point.
Yeah, the second person is Richard, who built most of the underlying infrastructure. And we are going to be doing a lot more work on tutorials and documentation, and I'm coming from Solidity. How do I do this? We wanted to get it shipped first.
Yeah, I came up with some of the basic tricks, but the way I explain them is weird, so probably better for other people to do the explaining.
Block height 60, T plus 23 minutes. If anybody's having any node connection issues, which I doubt, farmer1.beta.chia.net is up and not farming, but available as a node. And I'm about to bring farmer 2 and is up in the same way.
Somebody just said this reminds them of a NASA Mars mission, and I would like to say that in some ways this is harder because they've sent stuff to Mars before.
Yeah. We had to first invent a blockchain. Well, that got done first. First invent our blockchain.
First invent VDFs. Well, not VDFs, class group VDFs.
Hey, Bram, what do you recommend about starting a company?
Yeah, don't have invent new math here anywhere on your product roadmap.
How many places do we have that?
3.
but if you have some good mathematicians, you can do it. It is possible.
It is possible.
I do not recommend. Just in general.
Yes.
That is not something you can control in any reasonable way.
Except if you have one of the top cryptographers in the world as your founder. Do you remember what topic it was you were trying to find another expert on, and they were like, well, it's you and him, and that's it?
Yeah.
That was Eurocrypt, right?
Yeah, so we had a paper at Eurocrypt. So our consensus algorithm was me and Christoph. And
is Christoph on the call? I wonder if Christoph's on here.
Christoph is not on here.
That's too bad. I did get Ben some plotting as a service contacts, so that got taken care of last night. Ben Fish,
Yeah.
one of the Stanford Bens.
Yeah, so Christoph Piechak is actually wrote the papers that we've published, and I collaborated with him on our proof of space algorithm and our old and new consensus algorithm. And the BLS signatures we're using is a standard library that's an ETF standard, but Dan Bonet is an advisor who we collaborate with a lot around here.
It's really nice to ask questions about BLS to the B in BLS.
Yeah. Oh, and Christoph came up with so Dan and Ben and Benedict did the first real paper on VDFs, and Christoph actually came up with the first way of proving VDF proofs as repeated squaring in a group of unknown order. At least the first one we heard about that was almost contemporaneous with the Weslowski result, which is the one we're actually using, but it's for the same construction, interestingly enough, or for the same value anyway. And the idea of using class groups, the story behind that one is Christoph wrote this paper, and I sent it along to Dan, and Dan immediately was like, oh yeah, you could remove the trusted setup by using class groups. And I said, okay, we could do that. What's a class group?
So question from the community: what are blue boxes? Why are blue boxes? Why would I run one? What a blue box does is it takes the kind of gnarly large proofs of time that we create immediately to get the chain moving, and compacts them into the smallest Weslowski implementation of them as possible. The most VDFs are like 20 seconds of VDF proving time on the fastest. That may mean that it's going to take you like 40 seconds on your machine. There is one longer one and an interim one that also take a little longer. But the whole point is that you kind of randomly look through the database you have of the blockchain and figure out which ones aren't compacted, and you compact them. Great for that enterprise old server you were using to plot, but now you don't have any space left. Turn that sucker on, spin up 3 VDF clients for Blue Box, and let it chew through the chain. The more we blue box, the easier it is for new people to sync very quickly. So, if you're a Pi user, you want all your proofs of time to be compacted by blue boxes as you're verifying them to get back into sync.
It also makes the chain size smaller as far as the database.
Yep, we keep the database from growing as fast. There is a ton of low-hanging fruit around performance that we have not touched on yet, ladies and gents, but we wanted to get this morning's event complete and then go from there.
The network works best when there's actually a whole bunch of blue boxes working, and they can be pretty slow. They don't have to be super optimized like the actual.
The only limitations right now on blue boxes, you need to run them on Mac or Linux. We will come up with a workaround for Windows, but you will find that even that's probably going to be slower than actually compiling it locally. But easy to install on Ubuntu. Again, especially if you got recycled hardware somewhere, just throw Ubuntu on it, build the Time Lord, and you'll blue box away.
Pi would not be very happy anyway.
Yeah, the Pi's not going to love blue boxing.
Oh yeah, that would be painful.
Let's see.
So we don't have transactions working yet. We're going to fork in transaction rules. So we have transaction blocks so far, but they're all empty. Rewards are going out. Transactions are going to continue to be, transaction blocks are going to continue to be empty for the next 6 weeks. And before that time is up, we will fork in the rules for transactions, which we haven't completely finalized yet. We have prototypes that have been running on testnet, but we need a little bit more polish for getting.
We have transactions working. They've been working on testnet for quite a while. People have not.
We're just not ready to declare it.
We're taking a little extra time.
Yeah.
We're going to launch a new testnet that will be the beta of this fork that will have transactions on it so that we can test that and run that. We may ask especially some of you whales to co-farm both mainnet and testnet, which is pretty lightweight if you got the right setup, especially thanks to Justin getting the Docker basically ready. question from the community was, are we going to be planning regular calls? Yes, we're probably going to start a cadence. Haven't decided on what exactly it is. We'll probably have two classes of calls. One class is for developers, and so you need to be a developer, and we're going to keep pretty limited to Chia Lisp or changes to the protocol. At some point here, we need to restart our chips GitHub because we need to start formalizing how we're going to be making changes as a larger group than just us here. But we'll also probably continue to do like our Friday cocktail hours on different topics and probably wide topics. Today, not necessarily taking all the different questions, but certainly running it in these details here. But yeah, we'll start a cadence of this. We finally got the infrastructure working right, where we can get 500 people in this and unlimited people on YouTube as well. So. Estimates settling.
Yeah, I guess I can answer the question about how sensitive plotting is to single thread processing speed as opposed to overall system speed.
Go ahead.
So I guess, so yeah. Okay, so first, plotting will take as many threads as you specify in the plotter interface. You can, by default, it will choose 2 threads, or you can choose 1 thread or more threads if you want. And yes, it will also do heavy I/O, so you should preferably have a separate disk for the temporary directory where the plotting will be performed. So if you have more than, let's say, 2 CPU cores and more than 1 disk attached, then you can do plotting and do other tasks on your computer without a problem.
Also, Slava checked in some nice changes.
And yeah, we are recently made some improvements that are not yet in the official release. In the next release, they will be pushed, and even more optimizations of plotting are coming. So it will be even faster, and maybe even we will further reduce the temporary space.
Yeah. There's a bunch of different flavors of types of optimization to plotting which can be done. There's some more, the ones that caused the huge improvements in the past were very algorithmic, having to do with number of passes over the data. We've got a bit more of that, not a lot. Slava just did something. What did you just do, Slava, to speed it up?
Well, the most recent one that provided the biggest improvement is the using pop count instruction on modern CPUs if it's available.
Oh, okay. And then there's speed ups to the sorting that it's doing as well, just the in-memory sorting. Can probably be, at a minimum, multi-threaded. It's not for reasons which are ridiculous right now. Sort of ridiculous in a good way that our mono-threaded library is beating the off-the-shelf multi-threaded libraries. So we need to multi-thread our mono-threaded library to really get the best possible thing.
But I think for most people who are plotting on HDD or SSDs, the sorting time is mostly actually the I/O time. So because you have to read the whole set of data to sort from disk, and that takes probably more time than the sorting itself.
Yeah, it's
so
weird.
Multi-threaded sorting for those people would not increase the speed much.
Yeah, it's weird though, because phase 1 is so much, like the first phase 1 of the first table is so much faster. I guess it's also the smallest amount of data of anything.
Oh yeah, it is the smallest because the metadata is the smallest.
Right.
Then it increases twice and then twice once more.
Right. Yeah.
I've reached the bottom of my cup. I'll be right back.
Yeah, and also for the first phase, it's basically a write-only operation, whereas for second phase, we have to both read the data of the first phase and write the data of the second phase.
Right, yeah. True. Yeah, and then you have, it's actually writing like 5 times as much data in the later phases because it's got 4 times the metadata instead of just the entries going forward, I think. Or is it 5 halves? Not sure. But still, looking at it, it does look like it might be spending a fair amount of time in the sort, but I guess we got a benchmark.
Looks like it stabilized around 90 petabytes.
Well, looks like we really nailed it. Thanks to our whales for estimating so accurately.
Guesstimating.
Yes.
Thanks for everybody running on testnet.
Yeah, thank you all.
So that was optional, and we really appreciate the testing and the bug reports.
Yeah, and the ability to break things. Very nicely done. So I'll give this launch a 10 out of 10 for exactly what I wanted it to do. I think the champagne comes out here in a few minutes.
Yeah, let's see.
We'll keep running this webinar for a little while. So, well, Bill, can you do one thing? Let's go back around for people who didn't give their Keybase ID, and let's do that one more time. I'm obviously Hoffman G on Keybase.
Okay. I'm one more time, 1996. Bram?
What?
Keybase ID.
Oh, I'm Bram Cohen.
Mariano?
I'm Sergenta711.
Arvid?
I'm Arvid N.
Slava?
I'm Cryptoslava.
Justin?
I'm JDE 5011. I had to check.
Matt?
Matt_Howard.
Ali?
I'm A. Shadle.
Adam?
Adam Kelly.
Lauren?
I think I'll type it. It's pretty hard to pronounce for non-speakers.
I'll give it a shot because I think people are
spell it for people. That's probably the best.
Okay. F Kirika, I think it's the spell.
That's right. FCHI.
Yeah. RICA.
Very awesome. Strat?
On Keybase, I'm Straya, Straya. On most of the other platforms, I'm Yostra, Yostra.
All right, Russ?
RUSAITO.
Laura?
LBISIO.
Almog?
You're on mute, Almog.
Great. ALMOGD is my handle on Keybase.
Awesome. Zlaka?
On Keybase, I am Cden.
Richard?
Richard Kiss, all one word.
Lipa?
Lipa Long, LIPALONG.
Will?
I'm W. Bendick.
And Brian?
I'm BJC138.
I got Eugene, right?
Yeah, I started us off.
I always forget you.
So there's some questions about the reward schedule. Let me walk through for some people who might be new. Every about 20 seconds, about 19 seconds actually, a block is generally won by a farmer. That block has 2 rewards components. 7/8 goes to your pool key and 1/8 goes to your farmer key. When there are transactions, your farmer key can also get the transaction fees for that block. But for right now, about every 20 seconds, we hand out 2 Chia to a farmer. So that means that in 10 minutes, we hand out about 32 blocks or 64 Chia per 10 minutes. Some of you close watchers of the application will notice that the challenge stays the same. Stays the same for about 10 minutes. The way the new consensus works is that the primary source of randomness, the last proof of time, is the end of the previous 10-minute block epoch.
Yeah, the actual challenge rotates every 10 seconds or so.
Yeah, the specific challenge, but it's based on the randomness from that previous beacon. Bram, can you try to explain that in a way that normal people could understand?
Has to do with new consensus. So you want to make it so that people have as little control over what's coming up as possible, over what the challenges are going to be, so they can't favor themselves. So part of that is making it that you don't actually know what the consequences of what you're doing are going to be in the future. So the challenges are based off the output of VDFs at points in time, getting later, and it's set up so that you find out as late as possible whether you have a winner at each point. And on top of that, it's set so that you can't withhold, that if you that the challenge for a slot is based off the first block in the previous slot, and that one must be buried already by the time you get to it. So not only do you not know the consequences of what your thing is going to be later, but if you try to withhold it and fail to publish it early in the slot, it's simply going to get orphaned out and not have an impact on the chain. So those are our anti-grinding techniques that I spent most of last year on.
If anybody wants to know why we didn't launch around the beginning of this year, it's because of that.
Yeah, we at the Bitcoin conference last year at Stanford.
Yep.
Yeah, they presented some thoughts, and what we're doing is expanded on those ideas.
We hope to have an academic paper about that out pretty soon, but it's explained in the new consensus document, and you can find that linked on the front page of Chia Better.
It's not super clear what the right venue is for a paper like that.
Yep.
Feels a little more systems-y.
A lot of people asking questions about the plot filter.
Yeah, who wants to take the plot filter question? Mariano, since it's your idea, you want to take
it? Yeah, so about 1 out of every 500 plots passes the plot filter. So most of your plots are actually not being read. That means that farming is really low intensity on your computer. So that's why you will see certain plots pass the plot filter. But over time, each plot will get a chance to win a block. So it's okay to not pass the plot filter as long as some of your plots are passing. It's fine. So that just makes it really, really easy to farm because only certain plots are eligible to win a block.
And it's important to add that any plot should be eligible about 18 times a day on average. Obviously, some days you might have less or more, but every single plot's going to be eligible every single day.
Every 512 challenges, basically.
It's actually there's actually more than 4,608 challenges per day. Technically, there's actually double that. So that's how the 18 number gets calculated.
So if you only have 3 plots, you'll see a lot of zeros. But
yep.
Over time, it'll be correct.
People are asking about Chia Explorer and data. You'll have to ask Freddie. We don't actually run that. We try to help Freddie with we can, but we feel sorry for Freddie, who has supported those like 9 breaking changes over the last 28 days. Thanks, Freddie. I'm never going to be able to remember everybody. There are some people, though, I want to thank. Sidefake, Pile, KiwiH, Storage JM,
Zornox, the Geopath stuff.
Yep. You guys have been amazing in helping me answer all the questions we get. That's awesome. And again, I apologize for who we're forgetting. Don Kackman, Zornox for their contributions over the last year. Quexington, who's been kind of diving into Chia Lisp. Espino, I believe it is, who did a lot of GUI work and has been adding typing, all that awesome. We try to very much to call all you guys out in the release notes and other places. Thank you. It means a lot, and it's kind of cool.
And we do accept PRs, so it's all up on GitHub. There's no...
And if the wiki's wrong, it's a wiki. You can change it.
And there's a lot of people coming soon, so any help is really appreciated in the channels.
Yes.
Oh, and folks that are translating too.
Yes, as long as the translation folks.
Get that.
Someone asked for a Rickroll. It appears to be, looking at the sheet music, like I probably can figure out an arrangement for never going to give you up on my drum. So
these are the critical questions. Of,
yes, I'll try to do that.
This is how you know the launch went well.
T plus 46 minutes. We're at height 128. Question, when mainnet in Keybase, we're actually not going to do a mainnet channel in Keybase. We moved everybody to support for general support. The testnet channel is going to become the place where we talk about, hey, the testnet's going to break. It's going to be re-released here to coordinate those who are doing testing with us.
Yeah, we still have a testnet on the side.
Yeah, the RC9 chain is up. It's limping badly right now. So.
Yeah, testnet's kind of a low priority at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, we might want to launch a new one just for making tests, right?
We are, but that's a like Monday, Tuesday thing. Like,
yeah, we can do that later.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we've earned the long weekend. Like, don't work too hard this weekend, please.
It's party time now. We'll launch a test on Monday.
I'm gonna get the champagne out here shortly. Don't worry. I just need a little more coffee to warm up into that before I start getting, you know. There's also now a heck of a lot of documentation that's out of date because it's like when mainnet, and it's like, yeah, already. Thanks. Have a nice day. Bets on the next question everybody asks.
When moon?
Probably win price, right? The answer is we don't know. We're guessing as much as you. We've told you what we can in the business white paper. What are our priorities for the next 6 months, Bram?
Oh boy. Well, 6 months is a ways out. So right now,
I pull it into 3. That's probably the more wise way.
Yeah, into 3. So for 3, the goal is to get transactions started and get our full node software improved and get listed on exchanges and get the beginnings of a Chia Lisp developer community going. And also get, start getting tracked by like useful tulips and all the usual things.
Yeah, no, from the application standpoint, it's speeding up plotting, pooling, as you mentioned. There's a bunch of stuff we have kind of put on ice that we will now return to finally. One of the questions I get is, what's the vision for the application? And the vision for the application is that like people who don't know anything about crypto can download it, can say, hey, plot during 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. and have the app just actually manage their space. That's going to take a little while because there's a lot of cross-platform challenges to make that work well. But that's our goal, and I think we can get to it in this calendar year.
Eventually, we'd like to be in the operating system,
and or below the file system as well.
Possibly on the hard drive itself.
Yeah. Yep. A lot of
Someone in beginner just called this a voluntary botnet.
Yep.
It's a big net, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all open source, so just take a look.
Yep.
Well, the bigger it is, the harder it is to attack because
right.
you would have to take down many, many nodes, thousands of nodes. So it's more secure the more farmers we have.
A lot of questions about the business white paper, IPO, etc. I would point you to the business white paper post and the business white paper itself right now in the Zooms. We'll do another one of those Zooms here soon, but, you know, kind of not the topic for this morning.
We're very focused on the tech here.
Tech first.
Yeah.
As I've told a lot of you, first we build a blockchain.
Our business side stuff is really simple and straightforward, actually.
Just a heck of a lot of work.
Yeah.
I do expect that we'll start hiring again here in about 60 days. We kind of froze because we're going to be dealing with mythical man months of trying to train people. But that's going to change here very, very soon. So.
Yeah, we really haven't even had time to schedule interviews or anything. So.
Yeah. Apologies to some of you who have come over the transom. You are in our queue, and we will getting back to you when we can. Obviously, one of the ways to get on the radar for somebody we'd like to work with is somebody who does great PRs. Like, that's an excellent way to show us that you're interested and that you're good. So how do we feel about launch? What are we thinking? Relieved as bleep. And pretty monumental. This team, as you see it, has done an amazing job under pressure with decisions that we're going to have to live with for the rest of our lives. You know, it's not your usual tech project in that sense. Bram and I joke that there's some decisions we're going to make that people are going to hate us for in about 150 years, but we expect to be dead by then.
And it is brand new stuff. It's not like we have anything to go by.
That's right. You know, we have the things everybody's learned from Bitcoin. So there's a lot of things we were able to say, hey, let's do it the Bitcoin way and not worry about it. But
yeah, definitely. There's a lot more to work off now than in the Mojo Nation days.
Yeah. And, you know, look, thanks Hal and thanks Lynn and thanks everybody else who came before. Adam Back, Hellman, the long list of folks that we are thankful for to get us here. Win pool. I think I'll go with the trademark soon. Pooling is one of the top 2 or 3 things we're now focused on once we
get transactions launched.
Yeah, the transaction launch, because there is a real ticking deadline on that, is going to be the #1 priority. But at the same time, not everybody here is fully on the transaction launch. There are folks who are more blockchain focused who will have time to start working on pooling.
Yeah, our Trello list of tasks is online for the public to see as well. So
yeah, the way you can find that easily is it's on the GitHub project tab for the Chia blockchain repo.
Our Trello doesn't really contain much of any time estimates. That's because I hate having time estimates in the backlog because they're mostly a myth.
It does tend to be prioritized in most important stuff at the top, but other than that.
Yeah. Most important stuff at the top and things you really, really don't want to forget need to be somewhere in there. That's kind of the general guidelines.
So Bram, tell us about where we are on the recommendation about deleting winning plots.
The general recommendation is if you're a whale, it will be a good idea to set that up in the future, but we don't have it automated yet. So sorry about that.
Yeah, and the reason why, if you're a whale, it matters is that you might be able to be found and asked to reorg in a non-friendly way. Though that is a somewhat remote challenge, and it's sort of hard to do because as soon as you're 5 or 6 blocks in, it's going to be difficult to find all 5 or 6 people and the kinds of timetables that are needed to make changes. Elon Musk asks, is Chia better than Dogecoin? It's less lulls, but much better technically.
And more maintenance.
Yes. We hope Dogecoin goes to proof of space in time and y'all can co-farm Dogecoin. For the lulls.
We did have some memes the other day.
Yes, it is time for memes. We can meme now.
I will be issuing Steven coin as a colored coin on top of Chia, and it will be Chia's Dogecoin.
Someone asked about space-based Chia nodes. There's like a 30-second breathing room window between when a Time Lord finds something and the time for the proofs of space things to get back to it. So actually, satellites are just fine for that.
One of the things we're going to explore is whether we can foot the bill for you to upload and download from satellites, a la what Blockstream's been doing, except the other direction too.
Yeah, we don't have a very strong space program around here. Terrestrial solutions seem to work pretty well.
How many Time Lords are there and where are they located? The ones we know of, there's one here in Silicon Valley. There's one in the Northern Virginia. There's one in Oregon. But I expect you'll see some popping up in both Europe, the Central Valley here in California. If you're a really big farmer, aka a whale, it probably behooves you to run a Time Lord, just because that way, if there's a net split or weird internet problems, you're still able to advance the chain with your space as well. So it's very hard to have a faster Time Lord and win anything, because you have to help prove everybody else's stuff too.
Yeah, that was a big part of work on new consensus, was getting that security property.
Question is there any CLI command to see the number of full nodes on the network? We did not implement that yet. The best place to see it is on Chia Explorer, but I think poor Freddy is being crushed right now. So soon.
Yeah, Freddy actually got the least opportunity to test out of all of our stuff here.
Yes. Hey, Steven.
He's giving me some fat purrs right now.
Nice. Oh, one group I'd like to thank, Dustin Face and the Dash team, for helping us clean up and speed up BLS signatures. And it's very nice to have more than one person running our implementation, so that we know that it's going to be compatible for cross-chain swaps and all sorts of fun stuff like that. So thank you. We're at height 182, showing 102 pibibytes. T plus 59 minutes. Question, which security audits we completed and what were the findings? We completed our NCC group audit February. I apologize, I've been remiss in posting the darn thing. The main finding was what changed our node ID. There was an interesting attack where you could knock somebody else off a peer by joining as if you were them. So we changed to use TLS certificates as your node ID, and now that's a solved problem. A couple other things, we'll just post that. I think it's easier for everybody to just read it. I'll try to get that up today if I can. Chia merch. The answer is yes. We're not sure on timing yet. We're working on it. Some of the folks on here have the job of trying to figure that out for everybody. If you want to make your own merch, as long as you're not selling it, you can do it. If you want to sell it, we're going to be very liberal in licensing our trademark, and it's going to be a lot like the Apache trademark management. So you can take a look at Apache Foundation to see how that works. Those of you like Freddie, who's doing Chia Explorer, will need a license, but as I said, it's a very easy license. And if you are a building a pool, the one request we have is that you don't use Chia as the first name in the pool. You can be whatever pool, a Chia pool, but we don't want to make people confused about there being a company endorsed pool. There is not a company endorsed pool. Checking through the various channels, see if there's anything that's outstanding we should address. I think people were asking, go ahead.
Go ahead, Gene. No.
I was just saying people were asking, what do we consider a whale? For right now, I consider it anybody who has more than 1 petabyte.
I was just going to say, if you're having issues still, the first thing to do is just reboot and see if that helps. Sometimes we have zombies running processes that weren't terminated correctly. If you're restarting the GUI, every time you start the GUI, it has to close down all the processes and restart all the processes. Sometimes things can happen there. That's probably the easiest thing to rule out first.
Someone's asking about plot sizes. Plot sizes don't matter. Like, all that matters is the total amount of space you have allocated.
Well, one thing does matter. You have to plot K32 or larger. As long as you do that, then they don't matter. The only difference between 2 K32s and 1 K33 is the 1 K33 is a little larger than the 2 K32s. That is it. It is the final plot size that is your your only determinant in whether you win.
Does plot quality matter? No, it does not. There is no plot quality.
Yep.
Go
ahead, Bill.
Oh, so we get a lot of questions about this. Chia running people running Chia plots check, like 30 attempts, and they see that it doesn't get a whole lot of proofs maybe for some of them. They say like, oh, should I delete those? They're bad quality. The answer is no. It's just statistics and probability. If you use a lot of different attempts, like 1,000 attempts, you'll see most plots look exactly the same. It's just variability with the first 30 attempts. All plots are equal.
Unless it's truly broken.
Well, it could be true.
It'll show up. It'll be obvious when it's truly broken.
It'll be obvious.
One thing to keep a little eye on is if you have a bad plot that's truly bad, it can crash your harvester. We're trying to fix that. We've had community members who, were losing farming because their harvester was crashing. So just keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a bug on our side. We should handle all error cases, but we don't.
Yep.
Yeah, we have a lot of improvements we can do to our software. We're aware of this. We're working on it.
So question was, where's the end of Moore's law as far as drive storage? It's actually Moore's and Kreider's laws that matter now. Kreider's law, Kreider was CTO of Seagate a decade ago. And his rule was, I believe, that every 18 months you double the number of terabytes per dollar. That's not been the case for a while. The spinning platter manufacturers are starting to hit real physical limits. Seagate yesterday or the day before put out a roadmap to maybe getting back on that. That's the pressure that the SSD market is putting on the spinning market. On the SSD side, that's Moore's law, far more closer, and it can kind of go the way that we're going, which is, CPU cores aren't speeding up like they used to, but you get a lot more CPU cores per the same piece of silicon. And that's what's happening in NAND and SSD as well. So we kind of expect the SSD market to flip the storage market into SSD is cheaper per terabyte sometime around 4 or 5 years from now. We may actually move it up a little bit.
Something like Kreider's law is still applying to SSDs, but they're behind HDs at the moment, so they'll take it.
But we estimated and we chose our Ks kind of projecting forward to doubling every 18 months in compute capacity and storage capacity to make sure that you couldn't get close to grinding. Sometime in maybe more than a decade, but it's that kind of time frame, we might have to say that K32s won't be available after a certain date. But that's going to be a long time from now.
I think us starting with K32s was pretty darn conservative. Sorry, we don't have resuming implemented yet.
We will. Mariano, can you talk a little bit about what the grinding attack looks like, and how much space and why and all that kind of stuff?
Which grinding attack are you referring to? 51% attacks?
No. He's talking about how you would, if you were to try and replot repeatedly in response to a challenge.
Oh yeah, sure. So
not happening right now.
yeah, when there's challenges coming about every 9 seconds, and you have to check your plot and respond within 30 seconds to actually win a reward. So you only have 30 seconds to read your plot file. So you could create that plot. If you had a really, really fast plotter, you could in theory create that plot and not actually have to store any plots, and just create it really fast and then check if you won and respond to the challenge. However, we don't think that it's even possible to create a plot in under 30 seconds. And even if you could do that, it would be probably more expensive in electricity costs and actual hardware costs. You have to have a lot of RAM to do that.
Yeah, well, it's comparing to the counterfactual of just using the damn space and having it sitting there. So that's
right. It's much cheaper to store the plot than to regenerate it every time.
But it does get, in principle, the grinding does get that factor of 512 because it can see in advance what's going to pass the filter. So that's why we're so aggro about making it not work.
The fastest plotting we know of is about 2 hours and change in all memory. There are weirdly diminishing returns to going more parallel and plotting on a single plot. A lot of people are like, oh gosh, I should RAM plot. The answer is no, you should not RAM plot. If you look at how many terabytes per day you can create, if you took the same machine that cost you the same money to have half a terabyte of RAM in it, you could generate far more plots per day in parallel on that machine than you could ever do on doing one of them as fast as possible. That said, we play with it both to make sure that we're keeping up with K size, and for developers, Justin here is going to try to get our turnaround time on K32 and K33 down as quickly as possible so that we can really easily check to see if the optimizations we're making are speeding things up, those kinds of things. So, and sometimes it's to show that you're a bad MF on the internet. Like, that happens.
But it's better to go wide and slow.
Yes. The key question is, Kiwi won with his K, is it 37 or 38?
38.
K38. We know of one K38 that exists. That was a month-long plus plotting process.
Yeah, it did finish.
Yep. Use a UPS. Matt Howard's cat, Steven, is a beautiful cat.
K38 is about what, like 35 times as big as a K32.
Oh, let's see. Approximately how much Chia will be farmed at the moment of enabling transactions. It's 42 days times 4,608 Chia per day. That's the rough estimate. We'll be pretty close. Right now, we are locking transactions with a block height. We may soft fork in the actual day and time on timestamps in the transaction fork. We're aiming basically for the day before May 1, April 30th, I think it is. So that's when transactions should be enabled.
It's going to be very important that everybody upgrade before the endpoint, before transactions start.
Yeah, but the nice part about the upgrade is we'll give you some time. You'll have at least a week, if not longer, and you can do it when you want to. From now on, mainnet upgrades are, other than that, basically optional. And that one's optional in time, but not after that 6-week state. So before April 30, you definitely want to be on 1.1.
Can someone send me some XCH for testing?
No. The 38 is live, says Kiwi.
Now, it is the case that there are each Chia consists of 1 trillion mojos. So maybe kick the guy like 1,000 mojos or something.
Yes. $1K38. Love it. We are thinking about doing a nifty for each first larger K size that wins. So fun things you can do with a blockchain database. I do have one thing I want to mention, just because there are a lot of folks who've come to this from BitTorrent and not necessarily understanding blockchain super well. Your rewards aren't on your computer. Your rewards are on the blockchain. You keep a copy of them on your computer when you sync. But as long as you have your 24-word mnemonic and your plots, you can completely rebuild almost any problem. One thing to check is to make sure that the XCH receive address for both your farmer and your pool are going to a legitimate receive address that's yours. In the GUI on the farm tab, the top right now, you can manage that, and it'll show you if it believes that goes to your key. And if not, it'll also kind of warn you, because you may want to use a different wallet that you send those rewards to. The farming rewards to target addresses can be any other wallet you want it to be.
Yeah, all you really need is your 24 words. So print them out, put them in your safe next to your will.
Or stamp them into stainless.
However you want to do it.
There are stamps. You can buy washers is the cheap and easy way. Big O-ring washers, and stamp them on there. Order of your words is critical. So, you want to write number and word whenever you write it down.
But everything else is on the chain. So.
Okay, at T plus 72 minutes, we are looking at about 107 petabytes, 236 block height. Question about will we have further security on keys? The answer is yes. On Mac and Windows, you're actually more secure than it looks. The OS keyring is actually quite well designed these days. So as long as you have a even barely non-trivial login password, your key is actually quite well protected when you're not at that machine. Linux is a mess, we know. It's saved statically in your home directory. We are underway on that. Will is on that project right now. We're making some fundamental changes to how that works to also be able to support things like the Ledger Nano X. Other question we get a lot, when hardware keys. BLS support is initially in the Nano X, and I believe in the Nano S. However, we use G2, which is the kind of other way to use BLS, and it's going to take a little longer for that to be supported at Ledger. A lot of the Ledger guys are involved deeply with this company, so don't worry, they're going to get to it. Once that's there, we know the Nano X will work. BLS is a little more intensive than SecP, ECDSA, whatever. And so therefore the S may or may not be able to sign a Chia transaction. We aim to, but there's a little more work we have to do Voodoo style to make the S work. Question, will the Trezor hardware wallet be supported? That's a question for Trezor. Obviously we would like to, and we'll support them doing it. So a good question I think a lot of people have, Bram, why isn't the Chia network going to shift to be just who can plot the most and not who can store the most?
The bottleneck is not plotting. People are doing a lot of focus on plotting right now because they're trying to get everything up and running immediately, starting with nothing. But in the normal state, plotting is relatively slow because mostly you've got all your space just sort of sitting there.
Also, there's a question there implicit in that is like, oh, this plot's only going to be valid for X days. We're saying it's probably going to be more than a decade for the K32s. If you plot a K33, you're talking about a 25-year plot probably. Powers of two are big here. So I think people kind of have a distorted view. And in fact, I've seen this happen to some of our whales. They'll go spend a lot of money on a FOMO basis trying to get their plotter as fast as possible. And then they have a really fast plotter and no more space to put plots on. And that's caused the rise of the plotting as a service, because they're like, well, maybe I can make some money some other way.
There are other people who've just been completely procrastinating actually doing their plotting and are missing out now that the network is live and they're not done plotting. So,
but like one of us on this call has been plotting away on a Raspberry Pi and was willing to put up with it going that slow, because slow and steady isn't so bad, actually. What happens is, you know, there's some time distortions in how plotting economics work. Right now, it's really hard to plot. It's not going to be like somebody can come running in and plot. I think it's going to take quite a while to get to double the current network space, which looks about north of 100 petabytes. So that may mean that coin price may get ahead of the profitability of farming. There's one upper and lower bound that's kind of interesting, and that's the cloud cost of farming. It is really, really expensive to try to farm plots in AWS. Everybody who thinks this is a great idea, it is not a great idea. One caveat. If the Chia coin price goes so high that really, really expensive farming is worth it, you're now going to be up against the entire financial community leveraging Amazon as hard as possible to plot as fast as possible. So your bet is whether or not Amazon can keep up with that. And as I like to say, you know, don't compete with Jeff Bezos on a commodity he's good at. So I think that they can keep up with that for a while. So that ends up kind of putting a cap on how profitable farming can be. Longer term, what we expect is there's a lot of stranded space. And especially with the SSD flip, consumers are going to go back to buying like twice as much space as they need. We think you're going to be competing with a lot of space that was going to be online anyway. And so the profitability, not necessarily the revenue, will start to not be as good for you to go buy incremental space to put on the Chia network.
Yeah, we only expect network capacity to go up, right? The work difficulty is just going to keep going up for quite a while here. So if you're going to get stuff, if you're going to get space online and plotted, now is the time to do it, because the rewards you get from it are going to go down in the future.
Well, and it's worth noting that other people may adopt our plots.
We hope other people adopt our plots. We're going to make it easy for them. We think there's a lot of wasteful consensus algorithms out there that could not be wasteful and otherwise run the project that they're trying to do. But also, I think a lot of folks will just want to be doing colored coins in GeoLisp and don't have to deal with the entire network themselves as well. Mariano, what's the max amount of space a single CPU can manage?
We've seen CPUs handling about 20,000 plots. So you should be able to go up to probably 10 petabytes with no issues, just on a normal CPU. The reason is the plot filter means that you only have to check 1 out of 512 of each of your plots. And if you have multiple drives, you can also do them in parallel. So you can check all your drives at the same time. So CPU is not really a bottleneck. When you get into like the hundreds of petabytes, that's when it's going to be a limit. But we've purposely designed the system so that you can farm like many, many drives and many plots at the same time on one computer.
You could also go for larger case sizes too.
Right, yeah. The larger the case size, the easier it is to farm it. Or rather, each plot is the same difficulty to farm, but if it's bigger, that means it's you have less plots.
But you'll find that you don't need to worry about the difference between 32 and 33 right now, because you are, even our big whales, are using really small machines to actually farm. Hello, Chia child. So the questioner about isn't it a plotting race says, well, but if you plot faster now, you get a win. Yeah, absolutely. Right this second, because of the market distortion of there doesn't exist a lot of space. If you plot faster right now, it does help you win in the short run. But over the medium term, you're going to be competing with a lot of space out there. And that space is going to be sitting there because it's already been plotted, and it's going to just continue to win. So you got to play with that. We are trying to make it as easy as possible for people to plot as fast as possible. We've kind of paused because we wanted to get Mainnet out. That is now done. one other question that pops up around that is, do we have a build for plotting in RAM? The answer is yes. There's a RAM WJB2, I believe it is, Bill, in ChiaPause.
RAM WJB is the fastest one.
RAM WJB. It is not the most advanced plotting algorithm in it, but it is still the fastest if you have a ton of RAM. We will be adding that to plotting in the Python app, sooner or later, so that you can have that as an option. But honestly, if you think you're going to go faster in RAM over the day, you're not going to.
I want to say one interesting thing about what Bill said. He said that other people may adopt our plot format. One interesting thing about the system is that you can farm on multiple networks at once. So that's a little relevant for us. For example, testing on testnet and mainnet with the same plots. But if someone else adopts our plot format, that means that you don't have to replot those plots. You can use those simultaneously on the Chia network and whatever other use you're proving.
That's a nice double dip for farmers.
We're using BLS signatures, by the way. We're using the standard that everyone is supposed to be using for BLS signatures, although a bunch of other projects are being slow.
So the question was, somebody asked, how many plots right now would I need to be able to win about a Chia a day? And the answer right now is probably about 20 terabytes. Now, caveats. That's like a Chia a day, so you're not going to win every day. And, whenever we quote these numbers to you, there's a Poisson distribution of them. You will be lucky sometimes, and you will be unlucky sometimes. So when we say it's going to be about a Chia a day for 20 terabytes, that would be over like a couple weeks. If you measure it any shorter than that, you're chasing randomness, Taleb style.
I think in my testnet testing at the 20 terabyte mark, it was 4 or 5 wins a week at the top end. So,
yep, which is about 8 to 10 Chia per week. Now it's going to go down, obviously, but the point being that like a 12 terabyte drive will probably win you a Chia a week for a long time. And for those of you who want Chia and are incredulous about farming, 12 terabyte drives often fall below $200 on Amazon. You stick them on an old iMac or an old Windows box. You start plotting away directly on the drive, and you will have a 12 terabyte drive filled with space, and you'll start winning some Chia. That's my personal strategy, and I need to turn my Pi on here soon. Might put 24, 36. We'll see. Too busy getting company plotting at high speed for the developing team.
I'm aiming for 1 block. I just want to win 1 block.
Exactly. I think Straya wishes to win more than 1 block.
Straya is definitely the grand champion plotter of the team.
It's been funny. We often hang out during the days, especially when it launches on Zoom. And whenever Straya turns off, all we hear is Super Micro 45 fans.
Do you hear that sound?
There's that sound.
Oh, wow.
It's like he's at the airport.
He lives in the computer.
So people are saying win Lambo. There are no Lambos here. No. Win Roadster 2.0. Green. Go faster than a Lambo. I am going to look into seeing if we can get a special run of Chia Green Roadsters. Just saying.
I want like a John Deere combine.
Well, we need to like electrify a John Deere and then put it in the tractor pulls.
Or a Lamborghini tractor.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, exactly. There's also the Porsche tractors, Mobile wallets. The answer is yes, there will be mobile wallets. We intentionally chose React as a front end to make it easy to port over to Android and iOS. But we also would like other people to make those. It's a GPO, it's an Apache project. Please steal our code and make something much cooler than we're making soon. we are, the thing that we, from a GUI perspective, the thing we think we have to get right is farming, because there's not as many people as interested in making sure your farming experience is as easy as it is for us. But wallets, everything else, we think that an ecosystem is going to evolve that's going to do much better than what we can do. And what's neat is that we've got tools that wallet providers never had before to do really neat wallet stuff. Things like Slow Paper Wallet. Bram, tell the people about Slow Paper Wallet.
Oh, Slow Paper Wallet is if you are concerned that someone might compromise the physical piece of paper that you wrote down your keywords on, because you made that just in case your hardware fails, which could totally happen, especially a decade later. And paper doesn't crash, nice feature of paper, but you're concerned that someone might steal the piece of paper. So what a Slow Paper Wallet does is make it so that if you are doing a recovery, or if someone is attempting to do a recovery and the hardware wallet is still online, it can stop the recovery process and pull it back.
Is it possible to obfuscate pre-mined Chia? I make them appear indistinguishable from community farm Chia, Mariano.
No.
Yeah, no. If you want to inspect the pre-farm, it's in block 1. It is an anyone can spend transaction that we plan to spend shortly after the transactions are enabled. It is a blockchain. It's fully audible and open source, and you can figure out whether we're telling you the truth or not, and we'd like you to verify it.
Everyone can see all the transactions in the blockchain since the start, which is today. Because actually all farmers are storing the blockchain on their computers, so it's completely public. That's kind of the idea of blockchains.
In the future, we're going to put a much fancier custody arrangement around the pre-farm, which will, among other features, make it so that if we are going to move any funds out of it, we're going to give the community will be able to get like a 90-day heads up and see that we've started the process.
Yeah, we're going to have about 6 wallets, hot, warm, and cold in the United States and overseas. The hot wallet will not be restricted that way. That's the one where we'll make loans out of. But we will be publishing what that wallet is. You'll be able to see the loan flow and the interest payments back. It's all right there on the chain. The warm and the cold ones are the ones that are going to be locked or restricted, especially like the warm one being rate limited. A couple other points. We, the company, will not farm. If we do, it's a complete accident, and Justin and I have screwed up. We apologize. Haven't done that yet. Individual people, like in their personal capacity, not on Chia computers, are absolutely farming on this team. But that's just the difference between your employment and your non-employment roles. We will not be moving any of the Chia in any material way before we're public. The loans may start shortly after the market develops for Chia in the aftermarket. There are real demands for market makers to be net neutral and have some more liquidity, and that's what we're going to go appease so that we have a little more orderly market. But that will be small amounts of the pre-farm. I expect that we would not loan more than 5% anytime soon. The other question is, when Coinbase, as I said before, business white paper, it tells you everything we can tell you about exchanges. It would not surprise me if foreign exchanges start offering IOUs during the 6-week lock period. Obviously, those are not actual transacted Chia, so invest with caution. We're not sure exactly when, but we hope shortly after that 6-week period that certain exchanges will start making Chia available. There's no question that the exchanges are aware. If you have a favorite exchange, you should ask them when they're listing Chia, because that's actually the demand that drives this. How many transactions in a block, Bram?
Well, right now, none. When we have transactions, we're going to be shooting for around 20 vanilla transactions per second, vanilla transaction being assumed to be 2 inputs and 2 outputs. The exact type of transaction you're using, if it's something not vanilla, that will naturally reduce the effective rate, but probably not that much, because we're probably going to make it so the main bottleneck is the number of outputs created is your primary cost.
Someone in the Keybase is saying plotting in parallel has diminishing returns. It's exactly the opposite of what I was saying. What I was saying is that trying to plot as fast as possible any single plot in RAM has diminishing returns. That same time period that you plot, say, 4 plots in RAM, you probably could have made something like 16 plots in that same time period. That's the way the math generally kind of looks on the same computer. One thing we're going to be doing, we're doing it poorly right now, but we're going to get better very shortly, is allowing farmers who have bad plots to upload them to us. You give nothing away by doing that. All we see is your public keys. It allows us to replot them and compare them. I will tell you that what we found so far is that a lot of people's RAM is bad or misconfigured. And if you think about the amount of plots we're all making, cosmic rays are actually entering the picture. If you don't have ECC RAM, it is actually possible for a cosmic ray to break your plot when you're plotting it.
Might actually be radioactivity within the chip itself.
That too. Though cosmic rays have tended to be more common on RAM bit flips in the in the major internet incidences that the bit flips have caused.
Bit of trivia: Tim May's big area of specialty was low uranium ore,
as well as being a prolific cypherpunk. How long until pool farming comes to fruition? 3 months-ish is the worst case, I think.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes. There's different types of pool protocols, and we're going to be developing all of them. They have trade-offs. It could be that the fanciest one is actually the most expedient, because that's it's complicated. There's by popular demand, we put in hooks to make it so that it will be possible to have pool switching for plots, but it's going to have to be new plots to do that. And we haven't specified the smart coin, the layer 2 smart coin standard for enabling that yet. That's going to be a bunch of work. It's pretty much our highest priority smart coin to work on, but obviously not happening until after we get our transaction started. Probably not even starting development on it until that happens, but we'll see how it goes.
Any plans to do competitions with Chia as a reward? The answer is yes, but a huge caveat. We are uncomfortable using the pre-farm for anything until after we're public. So it's going to be certainly until that date that we will not be doing Chia as a competition reward. But Bitcoin and stinky fiat still work here and there. So. What's the timeline for Lightning Layer 2, Bram?
Chia is a good platform for doing payment channels on. We haven't started work on it yet because mostly just lack of demand and because it's actually a lot of work to set up a payment channel network. A bunch of the more meat and potatoes stuff we're working on first is just a much smaller thing to MVP.
Also, we are in discussions with people who need layer 2, but anybody serious enough to need layer 2 also has a 18-month kind of time horizon on their development plans. I would guess that we will start getting serious about architecting layer 2 and starting to foster layer 2 development about the end of the calendar year. A lot of work from here to there, though. I am going to get a bottle of champagne. I'm gonna have a little champagne. I invite everyone else to join me, and then we'll probably wrap up. Be right back.
As soon as you celebrate, the blockchain will crash.
Of course.
SpaceX style.
8:30 in the morning, champagne. Let's get it.
Thus far, we have managed to avoid an SN10 landing.
It would be spectacular, though.
Luckily, I remembered to put this on ice last night. I want to thank Bob Cohn, if he's listening. He's one of my co-founders at eMusic, and he's an investor here. This is a bottle he gave me.
All right, so far.
Yeah, don't spill it on the Time Lord, Gene.
That is a risk, Bill.
Note from the community.
I'll aim it this way. The Time Lord's that way. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.
To Chia Explorer, with the Pool Explorer, which is a little hard to say what it means because nothing's particularly forcing whales to use the same pool key for everything. But the pool key that's won the most so far has like 11 blocks out of 327 or so.
We see you, Kiwi.
Yeah.
Wow, that's excellent.
Yeah,
that's 3%.
That's a third of a percent. That's actually.
I can't do math. Yeah.
No. So I'm guessing at least some of the whales are split between things, but still, for that to be the very largest one, indicates a pretty high degree of decentralization on our system.
Ladies and gentlemen, to a different financial future. Cheers.
Cheers, Gene.
Chain's still running.
Yeah, I mean, this is running smoothly. It's validating our thesis. We have a whole bunch of people happily farming away using very little electricity to do it with all different levels of resources in a highly decentralized system.
Yeah, the sad
we
thing
can't
is
shut it down now.
No, it's out of our control now. Oh well, we do have to release the one other thing, and we got to get the reducers out of the way. But we're close.
Yeah.
But history is moving forward in a way that is unstoppable.
Yeah.
That's out of the bag.
Yep. The best clock, short of an atomic clock, on the planet is live.
Yeah, we need to. I hope there are a bunch of other Time Lords out there right now.
Somebody asks, what's the most exciting project planned to be built on top of Chia? That's a hard one to answer because there's stuff that we're going to try to do. There's stuff that other people are going to do. And I really think the most interesting projects are the ones that have not been thought about or even publicized yet. Chia Lisp really changes what you can do in a scalable way, and it's going to let developer creativity go a whole different place. Right now, if you build something in Solidity, you're worried that you're going to be this morning's headline of $8 million lost to your smart contract. That is not going to be the case with Chia Lisp. Kiwi says he's guilty as charged, by the way, Bram.
Is that guilty charged of being the biggest of being the biggest pool target or
pool target
of splitting up or both?
Pool target.
He must be splitting up, because if we're at like, I think there are some whales who have like multiple petabytes.
I know that there are some whales who also plotted to more than one key.
Yeah. They must be doing that to have that degree of splitting up.
Looking through the channels a little bit.
Interesting.
Battle of the Whales, says Pile. Not general. But there are people with sub 100 TB winning right now. Some of them are talking about in the channels. And, you know, you should win even with, say, 20 terabytes today, tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Well, probably.
Probably. Yeah.
That's not quite in the should category, because it's not something to worry about if you haven't.
T plus 1 hour and 42 minutes, and we are at height 356 and rolling. Decent chain speed. Thank you, Mariano. Thanks for all the extra eyes on that as well.
It was 11 out of 329. We're from the same whole target. So they're yes, those are all from the same person, and probably more than that is from the same person because they use multiple keys.
There are a really nice group of folks who came over from the Burst community and have kind of formed the heartbeat of our community. They rock that person who won those blocks. If you're worried, he's in beginner answering beginner questions right now. So he's been a rock star, and we thank him for it. Thanks, Kiwi. They have been plotting in some cases since last July. That was the first day you could plot mainnet plots. So there's definitely a little bit of a reward for coming onto this early and understanding what was going on and predicting that this would go well.
And some of them were plotting before mainnet plots, so they threw those away.
Yep. Could the transaction block speed be increased? 3 times Ethereum seems kind of low.
I don't know. Doing more than Ethereum while still making it totally reasonable to run a full node on your desktop seems pretty good to me.
Yeah, there's a direct trade-off between how many transactions per second you do and how easy it is for individuals to farm and run a node.
Or even more so, run full nodes. We do want people actually running full nodes, not just
farming. Yeah. And it's important. Like I think we're going to be an order of magnitude larger on a full node public count basis than almost any other network, and probably larger than all proof of work networks combined. That makes it much more decentralized, much harder to stop, and much more resistant to attacks. So, when you crank up the TPS, you lower your security, and that's not what we want to do. We instead want to put it up on layer 2, and so the layer 2s settle out on layer 1. And look, everybody talks about Visa. It's actually a layer 2 that settles on ACH and Fedwire. ACH and Fedwire could not ever handle the transaction volume that Visa handles.
Yeah, what is the transaction volume on Fedwire?
It's in the hundreds of thousands.
Okay, so
a day.
Less than what we're targeting.
Yes.
Yeah. Because there's like 100,000 seconds in a day, so hundreds of thousands is roughly probably like 5 transactions per second. So if we're shooting for 20 transactions per second, we're comfortably above what Fedwire is already doing.
Yep. Don't quote me on the Fedwire number. I could be wrong.
Okay. Yeah. Not quite.
Yep. Just wanted to caveat that for people watching this some of the day and going, YouTube comment, you're wrong. It's blah, blah, blah. Anyway. Smash that like button. Smash that subscribe button. I know I said it earlier, but I want to thank everybody in the community. You guys have been so supportive. We've created the right kind of thing, and let's keep it that way. I will say it's going to get zany. We've been growing exponentially there and on Reddit, and it's going to keep going exponentially, maybe faster. A faster exponential growth rate. But let's keep it kind and fun and interesting, and people who aren't nice are going to be banned. I will say I have not had to ban anyone yet, though I have had to get very, very close to it. However, don't take that for meaning that I won't ban you. I will ban you. Your one appeal is to Bram, and he's not as nice as me.
I did the other day. I had at one point in the past gone and blocked a whole bunch of people with .eth in their names, in their handles on Twitter, and so I went and unblocked them. So I'll be able to see me again now. Still, the people who I blocked because there was XRP and TRX and BTT in their handles remain blocked.
Tronsters are blocked. Can we implement audible notifications for winning in the future? Absolutely. We are very close to adding a generalized kind of announcement infrastructure to the app so that fun and cool, interesting things pop up and tell you they happened. And we got close to getting into people's trays, but there were some issues with it, and we didn't want to break your installers at mainnet launch. But yeah, we absolutely want it to be like that. You can set it to sign the klaxon when you win a block. Question in the chat was, do we plan advertisements or PR? The absolute answer is yes, but the thing that I want to make sure everybody's clear on, a lot of people come to this project with their priors from other projects, and other projects had to do a lot of promotion, pump and dump, you name what you want to call it. We're going with this diabolical marketing plan that Satoshi himself came up with. We're going to give y'all somewhere between 20 million and maybe $500 million worth of Chia over the next year. And we want you to be our marketing team. We think you're going to do a better job than anybody else. We think that if you run it, you understand that it's actually human approachable. There's still a lot of skepticism out there that it's actually easy to do, and it's pretty darn easy to do. And we're going to make it only easier from here. But that's where we're starting. Obviously, all of us have built companies before and built major projects before. You're going to see a switch to business and marketing as we go through the year. But, we'd rather promote what we've done, not what we're going to do. Take a look around. Someone was asking about the business white paper that we don't plan to sell Chia, but we might use it for shareholder operations. It is true technically that if we chose to use it to buy stock back, that would be a sale, but it would only be then to be neutral to the shareholders. In other words, if you think about it as a shareholder, we would be lowering the amount of Chia on our balance sheet while lowering the total shares out so that the shares out per Chia stays the same. All this is somewhat speculative because we can't make any firm commitments that will even sell ever until after we're a public reporting entity and we've kind of gotten past the SEC 33 and 34 Act rules. But we plan to directly engage with the SEC. We have in the past as well. We do not expect problems there, but here's that forward-looking statements answer. This is a forward-looking statement. Anything can happen. You could have a 100-year pandemic right in the middle of your development cycle. That
was not helpful for our fundraising
at all. Though I think it was somewhat helpful for the development of our community. I think this was a fun distraction for a lot of people, and we thank you for doing it. Looks like we're selling around 115 petabytes. Still could be another hour or two before you have a really solid estimate of that, but that's getting closer to a solid estimate.
It seems to be going up, so maybe people are actually pulling stuff online.
That could be too. There's a question in the community. So what's special about Chia beyond saving energy? Well, there's two things. First of all, the saving energy point isn't really the point, even though it's important. It's that it's massively more decentral. Right now, certain foreign governments could round up enough miners to attack Bitcoin 51%, and it's not hard. You know, there's a mistake a lot of projects make, and you know, even Facebook made this mistake. To get to the scale we all want these projects to be at, you have to play geopolitics, and you have to figure out how geopolitics won't play you. We're going to be very, very hard to influence because there's going to be maybe hundreds of thousands to millions of nodes out there. And, you know, you with a node vote on what the rules are. That's super critical when we start getting to scale, because what the Chia network should ultimately be is how a bank in Malaysia sends a bank in Singapore wealth funds, however you want to look at it. But the other big thing is
decentralization in multiple dimensions. It's number of nodes and number of farmers.
That's right. The other thing is, though, there are a bunch of projects that didn't happen in 2017 because very serious financial players and banks took a look at the state of the art of smart contracting and said, I can't bet my career on that. We think they can bet their career on Chia Lisp. We think that it's going to be the thing that unlocks the projects that didn't happen in 2017 and 2018. And ultimately, Chia Lisp will be the thing we're all remembered for.
Yeah, Chia Lisp versus Solidity is really a Rust versus JavaScript kind of comparison.
One you want to trust your money to, and one you want to trust your web page to.
Yeah.
And if you ask Storage JM, it's not fun there either.
Besides,
say that again, Stry. You were short.
One sec.
Is this why we can't hear you usually?
Of the last few days.
It's only gonna get louder in there.
Yep. 1 trillion mojos.
Last few days have been crazy. What I want to say is, besides rounding up miners and actually attacking the network, other differences, it's very easy to actually find the miners. Like noticing electrical usage on the network is very easy. Figuring out who's farming Chia is very hard.
Yeah, it's not, you know, farming Chia even large looks like you added an air conditioner. Mining Bitcoin at scale means that you're having a conversation with a local dam about getting lines run physically.
It's not a joke that we ran the numbers a while ago when we were doing a high-scale Bitcoin project out of my garage, and it was like we quickly reached the point where they didn't supply as much power to my neighborhood as I would have needed to run the farmers. So it's yeah, miners, yeah.
Yep. But you know, you could be a large farmer hiding in a data center in San Jose, and no one would ever know you're there. It just looks like a regular data center install.
If anything, it's suspicious because it's using relatively small amount of power. It's just like
there's a great Zoom that's available via our blog posts on chia.net about energy use. Storage JM, John Michael, created a great model about what power we're going to need at the same kinds of scale as Bitcoin. Our worst cases that were 300 times less expensive per megawatt per unit of security. And that makes some really nasty assumptions, like every single plot is new incremental storage, and that SSD does not flip hard drive as being cheaper. Assuming the truth of SSD flipping hard drive, we're probably going to be something like 30,000 times less expensive in energy for the same unit of security.
So the website is chiapower.org. I hadn't seen that before, but
that was the
really
JavaScript
cool.
complaints I was talking about. It goes up.
Oh,
chiapower.org.
Yeah.
Sweet. There's the model. Thank you, John Michael. You rock. Why not free money? I'm going to answer this one. No ICOs, no airdrops. You got to have skin in the bleeping game to get Chia. Like, I am tired of these projects who gave you crap to try to get you interested in their piece of poo. Sorry. Tell me how I feel about this. We are not going to airdrop. You are going to be doing something important if you get Chia. You're going to be a farmer. You're going to be somebody we invest in and expect returns from because you're doing something on layer 2. You are going to be someone who bought the stock in the offering or in the public market, or were a long-term investor in us. Those are the people who are going to get Chia. No cold coin, no cow coin, no ICO, no airdrop. For some of you, even some of the team didn't catch my proof of stake, STEAK. I absolutely know that's wrong, but it's a cow coin, and cow coin should be served medium rare with a glass of Cabernet. And
I was
Bram
led to believe there
created
would
that.
be steak.
Yes. Bram created the cow coin words long ago, right before, when he was first thinking about it. In fact, I think you said cow coins at the meeting you met Christoph at.
Yeah, I was talking about proof of stake, where everyone gets rewards proportionate to the amount of stake that they have in the cow. I was writing that's a COW system, and everyone was wondering what the what that was an acronym for. It's like, no, it's a cow.
Yeah. I apologize if I come up harsh when you say the word, the coal coin word mining, but we don't have coal coins here. There's no mining here. There are no miners here. There are farmers. Farmers are 300 to 30,000 times more efficient than those nasty coal coin farmers.
No one will be able to spot your Chia farm based on how much snow is melting off your roof.
You won't look like a marijuana grow operation.
Yeah.
I mean, my farm is actually going to take up the space that all of those boxes that we've removed from our entertainment center has made available.
Yeah, I've got about 10 U's dedicated to it in my rack, and most of it is JBOD. Like, it's very space efficient.
Yeah, we believe that there's huge amounts of over-provisioned storage capacity in kind of middle of the road enterprises that have like they're not Amazon, they're not like just your desktop, they're somewhere in the middle. Those places tend to have huge amounts of over-provisioned storage. They're not plotting yet, we don't think, for the most part. But probably after we get a coin price, we're going to start seeing a lot of that coming online.
Yeah, and there's another important point around that. The other end of the scale, so folks like Wasabi, Amazon, Microsoft, Facebook, Apple, they do not have spare storage. They buy it by the shipping container, and they have it racked 24/7 by humans and robots. So they're just in time to fulfill that capability. We might cause them to buy a little more because they can be a little less tight and get more, the same profit, if you will. But when I talk to them, they're like, spare storage space. Do you have any storage space you can sell me? That's generally their response. So it's not going to be the big boys. It's going to be actually the middle of the road folks. For those who haven't adopted the cloud and still want to have a bunch of space on like their, SAP install or their Oracle install, those are the guys who have spare space around. The IT team, wants to touch that thing once a year max. And those are the folks who I think are going to be interested in, do I need 3 petabytes? Well, maybe I can buy 4 and I can farm the rest, and that way I don't run out of storage too soon. Just a note to the Chia team, any of y'all that want to take off, feel free. Any of y'all want to hang out, feel free. I just don't want people to feel obligated. You got to be here on the call.
I'm going to finish this half a bottle of champagne, then I'm going to go take a nap.
I think everyone on this team deserves a nap.
Leave your phone volume up, though, Justin.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Also,
I'm a light sleeper.
You and I cannot nap in the same period. Just saying.
I'm good. You never sleep, right?
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. You're set.
This has been a very low drama release. I mean, we didn't.
All the drama was like last Saturday.
Yes.
And
Monday,
you guys really
reset.
killed it.
Wait, was that Tuesday morning or Monday morning? I mean, like, it's all starting to blur, Mariano. Do you remember?
I think it was Monday.
I don't remember.
I think it was Tuesday morning. I think it was that close.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we got RC9 running and we got to 10,000 blocks during the day on Wednesday.
Yeah, there was basically one all-nighter that people pulled getting stuff done.
Yep. Most people have actually gotten to sleep a little. So
I think this has been the easiest release. It just worked.
Yep.
Well, that was intentional.
Exactly. All the investment in the previous release candidates. To all of you who got driven nuts by what? The blockchain stopped again? We apologize, but thank you. That's why today was boring.
If your merge request was merged before it was supposed to be by Gene's aggressive merge style, also sorry about that.
Some of you have faked me into merging into main. By the way, for those of you who do develop or interact with our various repos, we're going to be changing our strategy a bit. There'll be a document published soon for contributors to understand like what branches to target. Someone posted a nice entertainment center Chia farm on General Keybase.
Gene, Bram, team, I got a hop here from Switzerland. See you next time you're over, Gene.
Absolutely.
Thanks, everybody.
Fun story around Brian and that. I actually got special dispensation from the Swiss government to be able to go over there in November in the middle of the pandemic and spent 2 weeks trying not to get COVID. Part of the reason why our custody solution isn't as good as we'd like is pandemic. We were not able to necessarily go the places we wanted to go and do the things we wanted to do to secure it fully. We will be securing it more soon because it looks like the pandemic is finally waning. Almost a year and a week ago, we all left the office, I believe.
Yeah, Stanford blockchain was the last real normal thing I did.
Yep. Yeah, we normally have a nearly annual or semi-annual kind of get together of the entire team, and we have not done that since Japan.
Well, we did. Blockchain was pretty close to being a gathering.
Pretty close to everybody, yeah.
And then the year before that, we had Japan, which is really fun.
Yeah. This is a very intentionally global company. Folks everywhere, and it's only going to get more so that.
People want something to do because this is so boring. They can go solve some of my Sudokus.
So some of you farmers have been being a little mum out there in the world because you wanted to make sure you got early rewards. Well, you got early rewards, so it's time to start talking, please and thank you. What are the most efficient plotting node configurations you know of to date? An 800-watt desktop cranking 24/7 seems power intensive. StorageJM actually has on the reference plotting hardware a really inexpensive and pretty efficient build. You can get about 2.7 to 3 terabytes per day out of not super new, but decently capable little machine. And I will say, when I was quoting those energy numbers, they include assumptions about people plotting a lot. It may be that people don't plot that much and the numbers are even better. chiapower.org. Again, that URL. And again, thanks, John Michael. If your client isn't syncing, you should look in announcements and change the Genesis block and config YAML. There's people who will help you in support or beginner on the Keybase channel. So Storage JM says that the Intel, or I guess it's just generally, the NUC at 25 watts will get you 1.5 terabytes per day if you want to go that direction. And he is answering questions in the chat on the Zoom as well. Mariano, this is kind of yours. Does the current wallet auto-check corrupted plots like before?
The wallet doesn't check the plots, but the harvester checks the plots. If they don't open correctly, they won't be farmed by the harvester. So they're going to show up as invalid in the GUI.
Now, it is true that there's a bit of a bug that sometimes if your plot is broken in the right way, it will crash Harvester. So make sure that you see that Harvester continues to run. On Windows, start. Go ahead, Bill.
Oh, we've also had reports of invalid plots, and rebooting has fixed things. So there may be an issue there. Try to reboot if you have an issue there.
The quick and easy way. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, I was going to say Chia plots check is recommended to check your plots so that if you have an invalid plot, you can just remove it so that your farmer doesn't crash. Because crashing is worse than losing one plot.
But you reboot first before you start deleting any plots.
Yeah, do not delete plots until you are very, very sure that it's bad. And very, very sure is like you've run a check plots with 1,000 and maybe even indexed in like 2,000 or 3,000 and run another 1,000 check on it. There is a follow-up question of, hey, I didn't hear about RAM plotting. Can you tell me more about it? I'll start with the RAM plotting. It's unlikely that RAM plotting will be faster than plotting in parallel with decent RAM. You're going to create a lot more terabytes per day in parallel plots than you ever are on the quick single plot strategy. But RAM WJB branch in the ChiaPOS repo will allow you to do all RAM sorts. It is probably the fastest we've seen. It brings you up to literally the speed of your memory to CPU and total throughput. That is the ultimate limit on plotting right now. That said, if you do this, it's because you're playing with your, HPC. It's not because you're trying to create the best plots and the best strategy. We care about it both for making sure that our K values are good, and we like to get our developers quick turnarounds on our plots. So we will do things that are not economic for farmers to make sure that developer time isn't wasted.
RAM plotting, your biggest hurdle is getting the plot off of your RAM to a disk. And typically, even if you're getting sub 3 hour plots in RAM, your transit time gets you back up to the fastest you can plot a single plot to disk. At least that's what I've seen. I know I've been speaking with a couple of people that are plotting all in RAM because like the last 2 weeks of my time has been spent on trying to make the fastest plot possible to get our VDF iterations out faster. And so, I mean, if somebody cracks that, I would love to have a chat with you about it because, you might have a really cool idea.
Someone says, I want to block, but I sent it to my rewards wallet. Can I see that in the GUI? Unfortunately, no, because the wallet address, the private keys you're sending it to aren't on the local machine, which is the kind of point about the security. We will we will take that into advisement because it would be nice for the wallet to be able to show you addresses that aren't private keys on your keychain.
You can look it up in Chia Explorer also, though.
Yes, Chia Explorer is the other way to monitor it. Can you talk about how we're going to roll out 1.1? What happens after 6 weeks?
I don't know. In 6 weeks, we roll out an improve. So we're probably rolling out a new release this upcoming week, which hard codes what the Genesis challenge is. And then we're going to get cracking on the new list of stuff to do, which very much includes getting transactions started. Yeah, so hopefully by the time transactions are started, the full node implementation is actually pretty good, where now it's a little bit MVP. And definitely transactions will be working. And then, yeah, there's a whole long list of stuff for us to work on.
Yeah, and we want to get the 1.1 release out, not at 6 weeks, more like at like 5 or even 4. Because we want you to have time to upgrade.
Yeah.
I will say that if we find that it's getting late in that process, that we might soft fork in an extra bit of time. Just, being very transparent, like we'd rather it be right than it be fast.
Potter asked, what makes transactions so mega different from transactions on desktop? But there's still a development going on. Things we need to finalize are mostly the costs for the transaction and then compression and decompression of the blocks.
Oh, yeah. So what Straya was saying, if I remove the background noise.
Thank you, Bram.
Yeah, we're actually, transactions are likely to not really change all that much. We basically have our on-chain programming environment working. The main thing that's not finalized right now is the cost formulas. So we're going to get that worked out.
You can get a very good sense of what needs to be done by looking in Trello, and it's the 4 first transaction column. Some of them are a little Greek, but they make sense to the internal team. We'll try to make them less Greek moving forward. A bunch of questions about the proof of capacity coins that came before us. Before I turn it over to Bram, I want to say that one of the proof of capacity's coins install steps were install that coin and then download an effective consensus break to speed up your plotting capacity. That was the install instructions. Bram?
Yeah. Yeah. Mostly we have much better engineering than other things. There were some not so good things happened with a certain coin based off of proof of space. We have a much more fundamentally sound primitive for our proofs of space. We have we're mixing in VDFs, the proofs of time, which is very important for having real security on the thing, and having a much more real way of stitching it all together. And we have a much better on-chain programming environment than any other cryptocurrency that's out there. And thus far, so far so good. We have a much better community. So there's a bunch of things with other cryptocurrencies. It's not just one of them. There's a bunch of rather unpleasant anti-patterns in the communities around other cryptocurrencies, and I wish to not emulate that. Like meme lording all day long instead of talking about your real benefits is not good. Gloating about how you're rich is pretty toxic. I do not wish to have those things, and I would really like to have we will at some point have a Chia developers and community conference. And I would like to have a general policy there where we just kind of don't talk about the price of Chia, except when we're talking about like costs of setting up farming rigs and stuff like that, except when it's actually relevant.
Yeah, and one other thing I'd like to point out is that, you know, this project, and you saw this morning, you know, a bunch of us have done internet scale applications, and we know what that means and what the pain is, and that's partially why you saw a nice, clean launch. Also, look, there's a lot of like, what about Cardano? What about Burst? What about blah, blah, blah? We like to be kind. There's a lot of people working on a lot of these projects who are smart and talented, and we would like to convince them on the merits to come and develop on GeoLisp. So you're gonna see us be very careful about those comparisons. I know a lot of you want more details, but you know, look, these are, you know, compatriots who've made certain commitments, and we would love them to feel happy and excited and welcomed to our project. But I will say that the major issues are cow coins. Proof of stake is dangerous at scale. The cost of a proof of stake coin to completely own it forever is 51% of its market cap. And, you know, we're talking about folks like North Korea who for a while were better at printing the $100 bill than the U.S. Treasury was. So don't assume that all of your economic assumptions hold when you start talking about nation states and the top financial infrastructure. One point I like to make here, a lot of people talk about stable coins and algorithmic stable coins. George Soros broke the British pound. The British government could not stop people from making the British pound lose its stablecoin status. So if you don't know that story and you're talking about stablecoins, I worry about your future and adoption.
In particular, that's to algorithmic stablecoins. If you have a stablecoin that is simply claiming to be pegged to a certain amount of fiat and you are actually sitting on that amount of fiat, you're probably good.
That's right. You should stay close. But like even mutual funds during the 2008 crisis broke the buck. So there were funds that were supposed to stay at $1 and they got to like 97 cents, and that wasn't supposed to happen ever. But it happens. There's a common error that Coinbase rewards in Coinbase. Coinbase is named after Coinbase rewards. Coinbase rewards are what miners in Bitcoin or farmers in Chia get for validating a transaction successfully. So when we say Coinbase rewards, we're often referring to the old school version of that, not Coinbase, the company. Looking through here, some people who are worried are starting to win. That's good. People are asking, I'm plotting furiously and farming on the same machine. Will that work?
Probably. Depends how badly the plotting munges the machine.
Pool support, there's a blog post on chia.net. And it's now going to be one of our top priorities in the next couple months.
I just want to add to the plotting and farming at the same time. If you can, do not plot and farm to the same drive because you'll have a lot of contention there and everything will go, well, the plotting will go a lot slower. Yeah. But if you have separate drives for plotting and farming, that's fine.
A lot of people try to make their destination drive be on the network. I think that most people will find that exceedingly painful and they will lose plots over it. I know one of my friends did, and he finally saw the light of plotting and farming to the local drive and then copying it later using the OS.
You could probably also just move the drive. You don't have to copy it.
Never underestimate the capacity of SneakerNet. The old joke being an unladen station wagon.
Or Tesla.
The Tesla moved a terabyte very quickly. Though I got to say that terabyte made it perform a little different. For those of you who don't know, like a couple SM45s full of drives weighs like 500 pounds there, and then you add a couple more compute, and you're getting close to half a ton.
Just gotta hope it's not raining.
Yes.
This is Gene being our IT guy.
I wear many hats here. I am happily transitioning most of my DevOps hats to Justin.
And I'm happy to do that stuff. So it's good.
Random has proof of stake in it from the friend I was talking about, in fact. Deleting plots in the GUI is broken. Please be careful. We're sorry. Delete them on the file system. We'll fix it. In real time, John Michael is plugging his NUC into a power meter and figuring out what the usage is per plotting per terabyte per day. Love that. Kiwi H makes an interesting point privately. If you're plotting and farming on the same machine, make sure you don't run out of memory. It's something you can do, and it'll be painful if you do. People are asking fundamentally, like, how much time does it take to find a proof? What does that look like? It really is much smaller than you think it is. It's not only the plot filter. For the plots that pass the plot filter, it's like 2 seeks to figure out if they have a proof that's even worth checking out.
No,
if
like,
they do have a proof.
Like 8 seeks.
Pardon?
Like 8 seeks.
I don't think it's 8 seeks on the quality string.
Yeah, no, it
It's
needs
like
8.
you have to go through each table. Yeah, it's like 7 or 8.
Okay.
And then 64 if you find the proof.
Right. But 8 seeks, or we're still talking sub-millisecond. So, or certainly sub-second. Yeah. There are people here with petabytes on Rock Pies, and all of their lookup times across the network and everything are under a second. You are not going to have a problem. A lot of folks are coming from previous POC coins where they were badly designed, and you had a hard time looking up your proofs. You will not have a hard time looking up your proofs with Chia. Also,
like making proofs of space which work is really, really hard to do, just from a mathematical standpoint.
Believed by some to be impossible, but you found this one little trick.
Yeah.
But back to harvesting. Remote harvesting is the way to do things. Let me talk about remote harvesting a second. It is not as easy as we want it to be. It will get easier, but with that caveat, instead of looking up a proof over, say, NFS or Samba on your local network, instead you should run a remote harvester on the machine where the plots are actually resident. One of the reasons we're doing Docker is so that, soon we want to be in the Synology and other NAS app stores, so you can even download the remote harvester. The harvester protocol is really, really small. It's like sending text messages over your network. And then the harvester will go do that lookup that we were talking about and respond back to the farmer. And you can have a bunch of harvesters around your home network, and your network has got no data moving on it, and it will be responding very quickly. And so that's why we recommend using remote harvesters and like a single node in Farmer. Okay. Two hours and 24 minutes after launch. I say we go to 2.5 and then call it a broadcast. So any other questions you guys have, any last minute things, please throw them up now and we'll see what we can do. And we'll shut down here around 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. Obviously, many of us will be available in the various chat channels and other places to try to help, but it's also kind of a crazy day. Bram, can you talk about anonymity and privacy features, please?
Yeah, there's a bunch of issues with privacy features. I think privacy coins are a real niche. We're not doing a privacy coin. In principle, there might be privacy features added to Chia, but that's quite a ways out in the future on like an extension block kind of a thing. There's massive just engineering scaling headaches with doing privacy features. And then there's also a direct conflict between accountability and privacy features as well. So if you're trying to do smart coin things in collaboration with other people, having privacy features directly gets in the way of that. So due to the feature set we're going for, just completely pragmatic, being able to get done what we want to get done and having it work well, we made the decision to not do any privacy features, at least not for the, not for a good long while here.
Though we do have Taproot and Graftroot initially, which helps a little bit.
Yeah, we have Taproot and Graftroot. So there's different types of features. So you can make it so that like if you engage in smart coin functionality, you don't have to reveal the entirety of what all the eventualities in your smart coin were on the blockchain, thanks to Taproot, Graftroot type stuff.
And a direct follow-up question to that. Will we be able to do zero fee transactions like Zcash, or are we gonna have a minimum fee? Where are we on that?
Well, I don't think anything really has zero fee transactions in some sense. That if you have a lot of demand for transactions, you will have fee pressure that's going to happen. So the real question is there a minimum fee set for the times when there's just no fee pressure at all? It's, the middle of the night on like a Saturday night, and no one's really posting any transactions and the mempools are all empty. Is there some minimum fee that's charged just to even allow transactions to get on the network? That's kind of TBD right now. The minimum fee in Bitcoin is very, very small. So
yep.
Yeah.
Other questions. What's the issue about running more than one node on the same home network? Let me take that one. We use UPnP. Most people's home networks are one single public IP address that your ISP gives you, and then you have unlimited addresses, or 254 addresses behind. If you add two nodes and they both run UPnP, it will set a forwarding address on port 8444 and be really confused about what internal address it should send it to, so neither address will actually get all the responses it should get. If you run more than one node, please turn UPnP off on all but one is the basic answer to that. Moving forward, as IPv6 is kind of fully there, you can do different things. You can run more than one node and just pinpoint move 8444 in. But ultimately, if you want to have a really solid node, you want to go on your router and you want to specifically move port 8444 on IPv4 via NAT to the right address, on IPv6 just generally to the machines that you want to be up as nodes. The question about will people fork us? The answer is Bitcoin, as Satoshi's vision, is worth what? Sorry.
People seem to have gotten sick of fork coins.
Yeah. But somebody will, and we'll enjoy the show. Could Facebook use colored coins to implement Libra?
That depends exactly what the scope and goals of Libra are. I'm not super clear on that one. Yeah, so I really can't speak for them. That they might have goals of massive scaling. They might have goals of, I don't know what. Some goals they might have wouldn't really be compatible with that, because but I'm not even sure what they're trying to accomplish with it at this point, and I'm not even sure that project is still alive right now. I really don't know.
Yeah, the thing that drives me a little nuts about the Facebook project is, does everybody know that there's an international, fully working payment system in Facebook Messenger already today? It works, and like I don't know many people who've used it. I've used it, so yeah. So it is now 2 hours and 30 minutes post network launch. We are at block 548 with an estimated 117 petabytes. Pardon me. Thank you all, guys, team. Thank you very much for the effort you guys have put in over, especially the last month, 2 months. It's been amazing. Community, thank you all. Thank you for supporting each other. It's been amazing. We'll do this more. Right now, this team is going to take the next 3 days and do not a lot. So thanks, everybody. Cheers.
Thanks, community. Bye,
Thanks,
everybody.
everyone.
Thank you.
Everybody.